everybody? Marshall, Budget Guy RC. Sorry I run a little bit late tonight. My sinuses have just been bonkers today. And I wanted to try to take a little bit of medicine and see if I couldn't clear them down just a little bit. Maybe slow them down just a little bit before I started. So, anyway, that's what I did. Now I'm trying to reposition the computer to get a little bit better lighting without turning this on and then going totally, like too much white over here. There we go. That might work. What's up, brother? Yeah, running a little bit late tonight. I always try to start between 7 and 8, but tonight I was running a little bit over because, like I said, sinuses just, It's just down here. We're getting some days where we're up in the 60s. We even made it up to 70 2 days ago. What's going on? Hey, Dad, RC. Good to see you. And good to hear from you. Yeah, a couple days ago, we made it up to 70 during the daytime. And then we dropped all the way down to 32 at night. And it's just really knocking my sinuses out of whack. So it was about 6:50, and I'm just sitting there. My eyes are watering. Nose is trying to run. I'm like, let me take something for this. Because I want to get on there and, do the chat. And so my thought was, well, I'll take something and I'll just start a little bit later than what I normally do. I normally try to start between 7 and 7:30. But I want to try to keep it at between a 7 and 8 start. So that way everybody gets an idea. Well, okay, between 7 and 9 is going to be where this guy starts. What's going on, T. Sully? Good to have you here tonight. This is open. Whatever subject you guys want to bring up, we can discuss it. Or you can just talk about anything that's going on right now. You're welcome, T. Sully. When I do these, it's not always about RC. The whole talk's not just about RC. Sometimes we talk about fishing. We talk about camera options that we're using or we want to get. Like last week's show, we talked some about RC, some about cameras, some about fishing, and some about different type of boats that we use when we go fishing. Whether it be kayaks, whether it be inflatables, whether somebody uses a John boat or whatever, Let's talk about, you want to talk about the elephant in the room, huh, T. Sully? Let's talk about this YouTube BS going on, my friend. Yeah, it is a little bit of a pain in the, for sure. And for those that don't know what he's talking about or do, he's talking about the COPPA, the COPPA, that new law where you got to list it. Whether it's for children or not for children. If you list it for children, you can't have comments on your video. I accidentally did that on my first RC Talk. And nobody was able to comment on the video when it went live. After it went live, everybody that was on there live was able to type in comments. But after it went on YouTube, no more comments were able to be put on it. And it was about 5 days after that being on there, I found out I could go in there and switch it over to being not for kids and then allow comments. So from now on, everything I make, every video I put up is going to have it listed not for kids. Because, that's the only thing I can do right now without officially changing my channel name or doing further steps. Because it seems like they're targeting anything that could be classified as kid-friendly. You spoke with Aaron about it from RC Sparks, RC Adventures. How bad does he think it's going to be for the RCers? Yep, RC Sparks. I'm still in the process of marking all my videos not for kids. Yeah, I need to go back, bring up all my videos, and go through them and try to mark all of them as not for kids. To me, if you get, I don't know whether this is true or not, if you get RCs that is say considered toy grade, and you're planning on upgrading them, but they're still toy grade when you get them, I got a feeling that's going to be really tricky because toy grades are marketed towards kids more than the hobby grade ones that we run. Yes, sir, it's tricky, he says, and for us not to change what we do. Well, my biggest thing is I'm not planning on putting up no pictures of girls with the boobs hanging out, girls with the butts hanging out, and saying this is not for children. This is not for kids. That's not me. If I can't put up my video, well, that's not me. Why not? Yeah, well, if I was doing videos about the hottest girls I've ever seen in the United States, then yeah, I could see putting those kind of clickbait things up. But I'm not doing that, and I'm not doing that to discourage kids. Now, if I have to and I end up changing my name just a hair to get it a little bit less targeted towards kids, that I may be willing to do. We all like butts and boobs. Well, I don't know too many grown men that don't, but yeah. Do I have to go back on that on every single video? Well, see, wishing I was fishing 73. My thing on other channels, it really depends on the content as whether it targets kids. You're a fishing channel. And, you know, they're worrying about, I'm 40, Marshall, so it's a guy thing, right? Yep. You know, until you're dead, it's generally a guy thing. I mean, once you're grown, until you're dead, it's generally a guy thing. Most guys like butts and boobs. I mean, it is what it is. Duh, we're men. Or as women like to call us, dogs. But, you know, it is what it is. But this whole thing of, well, you got to be careful how you put your video up because it can go towards kid friendly, and then they come after you. I see it all about how you title your video and maybe the name of your channel and what you show on your video. It's got a lot of different things that can be in the pot that can cause problems. Me, I like to, because I'm budget guy RC, I like to showcase a lot of the toy grade RCs that are almost hobby grade that you can do a little work to that makes them hobby grade. But now I'm worried about those because, wait a minute, it's a toy grade. And when I put that on my channel, it may attract people under 13 and they might come after me for that video. So I've got to list it as not for kids, whether it is or not. And then I've got to hope that they don't say, well, he lied. This isn't targeted at kids because it's a toy grade RC. But what I'm hearing from people, if you're just running hobby grade RCs, since it clearly says on the back of hobby grade RC boxes 9 times out of 10, it says for ages 14 and up. Well, then they shouldn't be targeting kids if it's 14 and up, because all this is about 13 and under. And I looked at my analytics, and the last 2 years, every bit of viewership I've had has been 18 and above in the last 2 or 3 years, I think it is, that I looked at. So I'm hoping I'm okay there. Now, as far as all the 5 years, over 5 years I've been on here, my first 1 or 2 years, I had viewers like around the 13 age mark. So yeah, I would have to go back probably and mark my videos to be safe, or just take down my first couple years videos, which I don't really want to do. You and me both, friend. Yep, my friend. That is so true. What I might do is just a little simple name alteration. It still seems there's some gray areas that need to be hammered out one way or another. Oh yeah, there's so much gray in this. It's not funny. I mean, come out and make it point specific. You know, hey, if you're just doing Legos, or if you're just doing kid action figures, or if you're just doing this or that, those are the people that's got to worry about a little bit more. Change nothing, friend. Yeah, I don't really want to change, but I mean, okay, I'm Budget Guy RC. A simple change to like Budget Guy Adventures. Take the RC out of it. Maybe it doesn't target kids as much. You know, because I definitely can't afford 42,000, 48,000, whatever their fine thing is, if they decided to do that. I would have to remove said video or do something otherwise to compromise. Gray areas under your cap. Oh man, there ain't even no gray area under my cap anymore, my friend. Got a little bit of the gray and the blonde and the brown and the beard, but there's no more gray area under the cap anymore. That ran away a couple years ago, the rest of it. So, but it's just all surreal. It's messed up. I mean, you shouldn't have to change anything. Thank you, brother. I appreciate that. It's really good to hear from you, man. I've been missing chatting with you. I've been, seeing you over on other chats when we all used to do Google Hangouts live. It's just been so much change in this last year. I mean, you look back. Everybody had all these RC groups that they were members of, and they could go there and promote their videos. We had Google Hangouts that everybody would jump on and hang out with their other RC buddies. And all that went poof. And then they jump out and they want to throw this COPPA type law or whatever you want to call it about child content. But to me, the scariest thing is if you do child content and say you had a kid over spending the night with your kid and you put up a video with that kid in it and you didn't get that kid's parents' permission, there's a possible lawsuit right there. I mean, it's just like T. Sully 2013 said earlier, it is a bunch of BS. But in my opinion, people like Wishing I Was Fishing 73 and some other channels like that where the content's not directly targeted at kids, because I mean, he does a fishing channel. I don't see that happening as much. Head on over to Facebook. There's a lot of good deals. We have a bunch of winners out there frustrating. You're 100, bunch of whiners out there frustrating. You're 100% correct. Yeah. I mean, if you could take RC out of your name and that saves you from getting fined and not losing your channel, then yeah, I may go that far. But do I have to put up negative stuff on my channel just to make it where, I don't have to worry about kids? I'm not going to sit there and go, hey, you mutt, and have all these cuss words throughout a 15-minute video where every other word I say is a cuss word and then label the video as not for kids, not for teenagers, not for this, not for that. Because on my YouTube channel, when I do my RC videos, you do not hear me cuss on my channel. If I shoot a video and I let one slip, whether it be the S word or whatever, I'm going to cut that little piece out just because that's me. That's my channel. Now, on here with the live stuff that I've been doing, yeah, every now and then you'll hear me go, yeah, that's some shit. Or, yeah, that's messed up. Yeah, that's screwed up. That's some BS. Stuff like that. But I'm just not big one into the cussing on my channel because I just never went into that. I mean, yeah. And I've been that way for 5 years on that channel. Why start cussing in it just to try to keep kids off of it? Yeah. But I am entertaining the idea of maybe changing my channel name a hair So that way they don't target the kids, under 13 or in a target audience. I mean, Budget Guy Adventures. That's way better than getting hit with a $42,000 fine, $48,000 fine, whatever, or being told you got to take this video down. But I like what Hey Dad RC says. Yeah, you could go back through all your videos and go in there and try to change that setting so they're not targeting kids. And it says not for kids, for adults only. Someone behind YouTube has gone sideways on us. Somebody definitely went sideways. And something definitely went sideways. Now, rumors I had heard, I haven't watched a lot of people talk about the RC mess with this COPPA, but I heard somebody that had a children's channel did something, maybe not quite up on the up and up, and YouTube let it air, and they didn't have the permissions that they all needed or whatever, and YouTube got sued along with the channel or something. And I heard a lot of this stems from that. They want to make sure that they don't get sued again, so they're enforcing this. And that's the reason, as a backlash from a previous suit. They strickened and tightened up the belt or tightened up the noose on everybody to try to correct this. I'm not sure. I just give an opinion. People can look at other videos and see, get more detailed. This is just me giving an opinion. I mean, but yeah, I've got a toy grade RC or two, and what if I want to upgrade it and put hobby grade electronics in it and then go out and shoot a video of it? Well, because it's a toy grade one, it's going to really be on the fence then. There's a couple of videos out there that explains it all or something. Just seems like a giant lawsuit cash grab. But that may be what it's all about, brother. It may definitely be what it's all about. But all I can do on YouTube is do me. Do crawler videos that I do trail videos that I do some bashing every now and then. Maybe go run a boat in a lake somewhere, something like that. Get on here and do these talks with people. And that's about what I do. Oh, yeah, and every occasional fishing video, upgrade to my kayak or something like that getting shown. Some unboxing videos when I do have the money to get an RC. Upgrade videos if I have the money to buy anything for them. But me, the biggest thing is I'm going to mark all my videos from now on not for kids. And I'm going to try to stick with stuff that's more hobby grade RC. So that way, if it's not listed as toy grade, it shouldn't target them as much. And then I'm looking at a couple of slight name changes or whatever, down the road to see if that would help. Like I said earlier, I said Budget Guy Adventures, and just take RC off of it. Now, the downside to changing your name where you pull RC out of it is your name. When you type in Budget Guy RC, you get a lot more search thing and listing of other RC things, you can go look at. Whereas if you type in Budget Guy Adventures, it may only bring up a few things to do with RC, and the other things may pop, like this guy's out fishing on a boat, this guy's out hunting, this guy's out mountain biking. When you popping out stuff like that with adventures on it, it may bring up other stuff. But, mine is all going forth down the road, really deciding what I'm going to do. But, right now I'm thinking and I'm watching it unfold. I haven't decided to run for the hills yet. I haven't decided to close up shop yet. Right now, I just want to kind of, test the waters and see if it balances itself out. I'm going to go watch these videos. Miss you, brother. And find me on Facebook if you like. I got 5 p.m. in Vancouver. Do not change anything. Stay true to who you is. Everyone's testing the waters. Yeah, that's what it is right now. It's just a kind of tread lightly and see what happens. I'll have to take a look for you on Facebook. It's 5 p.m. where you're at. It is actually 8:09 p.m. where I'm located, which is in the United States, of course, and in South Carolina. So it's 8:10 p.m. where I'm at. I want to throw this time out there for anybody else listening, so that way they get an idea what the difference is between us. You're at 5 p.m. You're basically 2 hours difference, 3 hours difference from where I'm at right now. And I generally do these talks between 7 and 8 p.m. That's when I start them. But T. Sully 2013, peace to you, brother. It was definitely an honor having you on the show tonight. I really appreciate it. When any of the RC guys stop by, hey, Dad, RC. You went silent for a few minutes or for a little bit. If you're still here, it's an honor having you here, man. Wishing I was fishing 73. Thank you. What bros are for. So true, my friend. So true. Wishing I was fishing 73. Definitely glad to have you here again. You know. Take care, my friend. I'm outie for now. All right, man. Happy holidays to you. You know, because you know holidays are right around the corner and everything. I want to go ahead and say it. So if I don't see you or talk to you between now and then, I want to go ahead and throw that out there to you. I'm going to go ahead and say happy holidays to everybody who's joined in so far tonight. In case I don't see you or talk to you, happy Thanksgiving to all, or happy holidays to all, whichever way you want to say it. But my plan is right now to stick where I'm at with doing these talks every Thursday night, pretty much, or every Thursday evening, as some would say. Thank you very much, brother. Love you. Long time. Same to you, brother. Stay safe. And definitely have fun RCing. Hope to chat with you soon, my friend. Yeah, man. It's definitely a touchy subject, this copper thing. But some people, you know, it's really going to affect. Other people, it's going to be, you know, like, oh, well, ain't really going to bother my channel. Like if you do a channel where you're reading grown-up books, I don't really see that as being targeted towards kids. So I don't think you're going to have a big problem. But if you do a video where you're showing that you collect action figures, and they may consider that targeted towards kids. Thank you, Heyday RC. He said happy Thanksgiving all. What else? Do you have any other plans, Heyday RC, moving forward? Or are you just going back and changing your videos over to not for kids or not for children, and that's going to be where you're going to leave it? Or have you made any other plans so far? Or are you just doing that for now and then going to wait and ride that for a while and see where it goes from there? Me, I know all future videos are going to be tagged not for kids. And I'm going to have to, you know, try to watch how I name stuff and how I tag it, you know, when I'm trying to get views. That'll be where I start. And then I'll decide whether I want to change the actual name of the channel or leave it the way it is. But the reason I mentioned the changing of the channel name just a hair is because, you know, I go out on my little adventures, whether I'm RCing, whether I'm fishing, whatever. I've even got a quad video where I ride my four-wheeler. You know, I've got, you know, quad riding, fishing. You know, I've even done some unboxings from like wish.com where I did an unboxing of fishing lures. So I do a little bit of different things. It's not always RC. So that's why I said I may just go Budget Guy Adventures. You know. But I haven't decided yet. I'm still on the fence. Just marking it as not for kids for now. I'm small fish, 300 subs, so I'll sit back, grab some popcorn, and see how it pans out. True. No sense in jumping ship and changing names right off the get-go if you can do other things to try to eliminate the problem. And then down the road, maybe, if you have to. Because I really don't want to give up the channel completely. You know. Because, I mean, to me, why else take a camera with me and go out there and record my trailing and my crawling when I'm by myself, if not to put it up where it can be seen by everybody else? You know. Now, it's different if you're going out and you're doing, like, say, a G6 event, or you're doing an Axial Fest, or you're doing a Sorka Class 1, Class 2, whatever comp, and maybe you didn't take your camera because you didn't want to have to worry about editing out, getting somebody else's face or something because you didn't have permission. I can understand not necessarily, you know, putting that up on YouTube, you know, because you worry about problems then. But now, if I got rid of my channel, that would be the only thing I would probably record. Say if I went out with 5 or 6 guys and we went crawling and we all wanted to see how it, you know, actually looked on film, you know, I shoot footage of all of us crawling, bring it home, edit it up, and then put it up on YouTube or just put it up on Facebook. But I still haven't decided exactly to the extent of how far I'm going to go. And I still want to, in a way, do certain toy grade RCs. You know, like say if you find this $30, $40, $50 RC that's got the coolest or most wicked looking body, you really love the look of it and you think you can do something with it to make it a little better, or, you know, and you just really want it, you know, they may come after you more because that type of RC maybe is categorized for ages 6 and up. Well, then you may get kids coming to your channel and it might cause you an issue. But like Hey Dad RC's doing, putting on there saying, hey, not for children in your video down there, you know, might take care of that. But I can't, I just can't in good conscience say RC crawls at Wintergreen Park. I'm making that name up. RC crawls at Wintergreen Park. Adult only. Do not watch if you're under. I don't know if I can put that in a title. You know, other people do it. That's their business. It's funny. I'm starting YouTube because my son, who is autistic, loves watching a bunch of RC channel. So I thought he'd get a kick out of seeing Dad and himself on YouTube. This stuff is unfortunate. Hey, Dad RC, I'm right there with you. My son, who is now of age, is autistic as well. Back when I first started it, I actually started it because I wanted to show people that you could have fun on that budget, not have to have a $400 crawler, not have to have a $500 crawler, not have to have a $1,500 crawler, just to go out and have some fun. That you could go out and buy a Red Cat or a Max Stone from Exceed or some other off-brand for a couple $100 or less and just go out there and have a blast, you know. And that's when I started my channel. But then I wanted to bring my son into it because I was hoping it was something we could do as father and son duo. So I bought him a short course truck. He looked like he was thrilled to death to get, but it just never, he never really got into it. We did one video where he ran a buggy I had. I ran my short course truck. We crashed, just destroyed the buggy. I mean, just wiped that thing out where I had to rebuild it. and didn't even hurt the short course truck. Yeah, it was like, indestructible at that moment. And then when I bought him his short course truck, because I figured it could handle some more bumps and bruises, I did a video unboxing it, and then we did a video of his first run with it, and then we did a video of him trying to learn how to jump like a ramp. I had a piece of cardboard that I turned into a ramp, and we went down near the lake, ran it, and then after that, he just lost interest in it. He started getting more interested in just watching YouTube videos, commenting on gaming channels and stuff like that. And so his RC truck probably hasn't seen any dirt probably in 2 or 3 years. That's exactly how it's been with my son. Yeah. They go through phases just like a normal kid would, where they have certain things they're really into and other things they could care less about. And in the beginning, when I showed him the truck and said, "Hey, you want me to get this for you as a birthday gift, Christmas gift, blah, blah, blah," he was head over heels. Once we got it, he ran it a couple times, and it was like, I'm done with that stage. I don't even want to go outside and mess with them at all. So he wanted to jump into, I want to watch gaming channels. I just want to do video games. That was cool as well. And that's where he's at now. I mean, he's basically stuck on video games, basically, watching wrestling, watching channels about that type of stuff. He doesn't even really talk about RC anymore. So, but it is what it is. He's got like 2 or 3 game systems in his room that he messes with. And then he goes on YouTube and watches gamers, watches wrestling. And he finds movies to watch here and now on YouTube and other places. And that's where his stuff is. My interest is, RCs, mainly the crawlers, the short course trucks, some bashers like that, and trail trucks. I'd say the trail trucks are 75% of my channel. The bashers are maybe 20%. And then 5% would be your boat and maybe an occasional flight of a quad. Yeah. And then the occasional fishing video, talking about what I've added to my kayak for fishing. Maybe throw something else in, like that I got some new fishing lures, or that I'm riding my 4-wheeler, my Suzuki 4-wheeler quad that I've got. Yeah. But you never know. I mean, everybody changes as their age. When I got into the hobby a little over 5 years ago, got into it heavy, I did way more quad videos. I haven't probably uploaded a quad video in over 2 years, maybe more now. I want to say it's probably been 2 years since I uploaded a quad video of actually, taking one outside and flying. But yeah, it is kind of messed up when you put money into something and then nothing comes of it. But see, my son's still real heavy into video games, and he's real heavy into wrestling. And I grew up watching wrestling my whole life. And then video games, I played a lot of wrestling video games. And so, we still got that in common that we do and we watch. And I play PlayStation 3 games, PlayStation 4 games, like that. Well, I've got to lay my boy down for the night. Thanks for the stream. Have a great holiday. You as well, my friend. Peace. You have a great holiday, like I said. We'll chat again. Like I said, I'm generally throwing this out every Tuesday. Unless something comes up and I'm really sick and can't do it. Peace, my friend. All right. Like I said, budget guy. Seems like it's just me here right now talking. Hopefully we get some other guys to bounce in. We can either throw out some thoughts on COPPA, the new law and everything, or we can talk about other stuff, whether it be RC, whether it be fishing, whether it be gaming. You know, hey, what game are you playing right now? Are you doing PS3? Are you on PS4, which most people are? Or are you doing Xbox One, which a lot of people love? Just listening. Hey, that's cool too, brother. I was just throwing that out there to see who all was still, you know, jumping in or maybe jumping in. I went online and looked at a couple of those different Coke can style little RC cars. I'm actually thinking about getting one down the road. I mean, because $10 or less, so for something to mess around with, yeah, I may jump into one of those down the road. Maybe set up a light down on one of my linoleum floors, set up the light pointing down at it to give it better lighting, and maybe do a little bit of a little run video of one during the daytime with the light, you know, when it's good lighting. Because right now, as you can see, this is my lighting over here, which is pretty good. But you see how dark it gets kind of over in this area. But, oh, and that is like surplus groceries that we didn't, at the time, just didn't have room in the cabinets for. We also stick groceries up there if we buy something and we're not that into it. A lot of times we'll just take it and put it in like a box and donate it to a church or something and let people that, you know, are less fortunate have it. I mean, because I think that's the plan for everything up there except for the garlic season you see over my shoulder and the loaf of bread. And I think one other thing that's over right there, the far corner that looks like a barcode right there. That right there is not really getting donated to a church, but most of the other stuff right there, it's going to either be donated to a church or a local food bank or something. But that's why it's sitting up on top of the stovetop counter. That's an island stove, and it's got the counter around it, and we just got stuff sitting up there for now until we get it boxed up and get rid of it. But we also set extra groceries up there when we run out of cabinet storage. Just wanted y'all to know that. It's not just, hey, what's up with that? I can see groceries in his background. You need to clean that up. I actually had a person comment on one of my RC videos. I'm in my bedroom and I'm shooting an RC video. I'm doing an unboxing or I'm talking about an RC I'm going to upgrade or something. And the camera just happened to catch a glimpse of the front of my air conditioner. And because I hadn't cleaned off the front of it, the moisture had run down the front of the air conditioner. And he had a little brown like dirt stain in the middle of the air conditioner. And this guy came on just to say, man, you need to clean your air conditioner. And I'm like, really? That's all you had to say from the video that you just watched? Yeah, that's all he cared about, all he had to say. Yeah. So that's why I made a comment about the food sitting there. So that way, if anybody was curious, as you can see back behind me, a toaster, a coffee maker, a frappe type machine, and then a microwave, and then a rotisserie machine. So just some appliances. I'm at a desk in the kitchen. I've got all 4 drawers full of RC type batteries, chargers, camera equipment, different stuff like that. It's all RC related. And this is where I work on my RCs and stuff like this. Like, I'm going to move the camera for a minute. Try not to be too shaky. There. This is my tackle box with tools and different things in it. And then right here is like batteries, some more tools, an RC stand, different things like that. And of course, my cold coffee that I'm drinking right now. Now I'll put this back up here, trying not to be too shaky on you guys. I do apologize, though, for making it shake. This one's not stabilized. This is just a Logitech dash cam that I set up on the back of my computer so I can do these live events, you know. I didn't really look for tonight to be as big of a deal as my last two, because being close to the holidays, a lot of people, that's what they're focused on, and plus, especially being close to Thanksgiving, and plus Christmas not being far away, a lot of people could be out right now picking up Christmas, or they could be out right now picking up last minute. Oh God, I forgot eggs. Oh God, I forgot milk. Oh God, I forgot butter. They could be out picking up last minute additions to their Thanksgiving meals, or they could be picking out Christmas, and that might be where a lot of people are right now, because right now it says we've only got one viewer in here at the talk right at this minute, and that would be my good buddy Wishing I Was Fishing 73. The other two that were here a little bit earlier, T Sully 2013, he left. Hey Dad RC had to put his son to bed. He left. Of course, when you do these, you hope for more guests, but I mean, it could have been worse. I could have put the video up, streamed, and not ever got a view, and not ever got anybody to join in, and nobody to comment. And then it would have just been me sitting here talking for a little while, about different items, different things, different topics. But yes, I'm going to be the first to admit it. This isn't as professional. There's a lot of your YouTubers. They're sitting in a studio, got a green screen or got blue curtain behind them, something across the table to make it stand out more when they're doing their presentation. Again, hence Budget Guy RC. My stuff's not as extravagant, as extravagant as others. But you can see me. You can see I'm wearing a gray long sleeve shirt. You can see, I got some razor stubble. You can't make out my hat exactly. But it is a bass right there on it. And as you can see, kiss my bass. Like I've told people before, I've got one in the bathroom hanging up that says, "Shut up and fish." And then I've got, a fishing shirt my girlfriend got me that I wore on one of my live streams that says, "I fish to burn off the crazy." But, it's all about fun. I get on here, I do these for fun because I like talking to different people, chatting with them, seeing what everybody's into right at that moment, what people want to talk about right at that moment. And my videos, if you watch them, 90% of my videos are going to have fun or seeing at the end of them. Or if I forget to say that, it's going to have "Peace, we're out" with my name in the title. A lot of times I'll say, "Hey, it's Marshall, aka Budget Guy RC." That's just the way my videos roll. Now, Wishing I Was Fishing 73. Again, man, I loved the fact that you caught those fish on safety pins made into fishing hooks. That was really cool. And like I told you last week on here, I had never heard of that until you brought it to my attention. Me, I just use, generally eagle claw hooks, most of the time. Or what is it? Mustad. Anonymous. We are anonymous. We are legion. We do not forgive. We do not forget. Expect us. Okay, well, welcome to the chat. Like I said, here we chat about different things. Depends on what it is. Sometimes we may chat a good bit about RC. Sometimes it may be more about cameras or fishing gear or other hobbies like gaming, different things like that. You know, and right now I was just saying, you know, this one is not, this video, this live stream has been so far, nowhere near as productive as my last two, you know, which, you know, I didn't expect them to do what they did do because I'm just getting started. And I don't do like some people do so far. You don't see a thumbnail up and it going, join me for Tuesday RC Talk with Budget Guy RC. You don't see a thumbnail saying that yet. Because right now I'm still in the testing the water phase. You know. And I just go live on Tuesdays. Yeah. Later time I may do some kind of little intro thing that I can put up a day or two before to let people know, hey, yeah, we're having another Tuesday talk. Next Tuesday, you know, I might start doing something to let people know in advance. But I haven't decided yet. Well, it said I had two people in the talk, and apparently now one of them has left the talk, so it's back down to one again. Not really sure which one that one is, but I had somebody else say they were going to try to stop by tonight, but I guess he got overwhelmed and he's not going to make it tonight. Since tonight's been so slow so far, excuse me, I'm going to probably run this video shorter than last week. You know, if it stays this slow. Now, if the viewers pick up, you know, the amount of people, you know, in here picks up, I may stay on longer. But if not, I may cut this one like half the time of what last week was. But to touch base back on it, when the chat started, we started out talking about the new COPPA laws, you know, on YouTube, the COPPA, how they're enforcing that and what it means for channels, you know, that are already, you know, operating on YouTube. Are you going to be targeted by this or not? That's mainly what the talk had been about tonight. I did say a few things on RC, and I did say a few things I may try on my channel concerning those laws. But right now, as me and another RCer talked about earlier, we're just testing the waters. And then I wished everybody who's been on here and exited so far, I wished them a happy Thanksgiving, happy holidays. So anonymous, whether you're still here or you've already left, I'll go ahead and wish you, you know, happy Thanksgiving, happy holidays. Have you seen, Wishing I Was Fishing 73 says, have you seen the new RC car that goes up the wall? Yes, to be honest, I bought 2 used ones from one of those, you know, kind of like thrift type stores. I bought 2 used ones. Got them for a good price. Went home. Couldn't get them to climb any of the walls at my house. Now, that's not to say that the ones you buy brand new won't work, because, you know, I bought them used. They could have been abused. They could have been, you know, about wore out when I got them, the ones I bought. But I've heard rumor that they do better on completely flat style walls, you know, like if they've got grooves in them and everything, it gives them trouble. Or say like if you have paneling, that gap in between, you know, the grooves in that, a lot of times they get caught up in that and then just fall off the wall or just sit in one spot and make noise. So I don't know. So I bought, like I said, I bought 2 of those RC cars that go up the walls. And so far, the two I bought used, neither one of them would go up the walls. I'd put it up against the wall, and it would just kind of sit there. But it didn't have the power to go up the wall. So I just, the ones I bought, like I said, they were cheap, kind of a cheap no-name brand, and they were used. So that might have been the blame. I have seen newer versions of them where they have like little LED lights in the front as headlights, or they put LED lights under the body to where, so that way when you're driving them, you got that underglow. But, and they may be a little better than what I had. But that's where I bought one at Walmart for my grandson. It goes like crazy. Well, so some of them do actually work. That's good to hear that some of them actually do work. I'm glad you told me that, wishing I was fishing 73. Because, you know, like I said, my only encounter with them was 2 used ones from a thrift store, and neither one of them worked well enough to climb a wall. You could put them on the floor, and these would actually run on the floor a little bit. And when you stuck them up on the wall, they just sit there and kind of hum. Yeah. So they could have been about half burnt up, you know, motors in them. He's not allowed to put his hands. He's not allowed to put his on the walls. So it's a wall crawler that can't be put on the walls by him, huh? You buy him a wall crawling RC, but he can't put it on the walls. And you say you found it at Walmart. That's cool. I haven't been back there in their RC area. Back in the toy area or whatever. I haven't been back in that aisle in a while. Now, there is something really cool. These, I don't know exactly the price on them. Depends on where you get them. I've seen them at Walmart. I've seen them on Amazon. I've seen them on eBay. I've seen them other sites. You can get those little, like, tanks with the tracks that go, and if they hit something, they'll flip over, and both sides are kind of rounded down, so that way it can just keep going. They say those are really good and go really well. So later time, you might want to look into getting something like that down the road. You know, shoot, you might want to get something like that for yourself, since you've got the RC car, the can RC car thing coming, the Coca-Cola can one thing, and then you've got the quad you're going to be getting. You might want to look into one of those little tanks. It's like Hyper Tracks, and then there's another one. I forgot the name of it right offhand. They're made by Air Hogs. And people have really bragged about what those different type things can do. You got one that's just made for land, and it can, like I said, when it hits like a rock or something, if it gets up and stands up like this, it'll fall back over, and you can just continue going. And then they've got one that's made where you can actually put it in the water. It can go on land a little bit, and then you set it and drive off in the water, and it can go a little bit. There's different versions of them, but they're made by Air Hogs, if I'm not mistaken, the name brand one. And then you got off-name brand ones that you can find on Amazon, eBay, different places like that. So you might actually want to look into something like that for your grandson down the road, because that might be something cheap that you could get him that he could always, if nothing else, play out in the front yard with a little bit. Or, as us big kids would say, you could get it for yourself. Because I've seen a lot of videos on YouTube and other places, and people say they're really fun to play with. I've never had one. I can't remember if I've ever had anything made by Air Hogs. Yeah, to be honest. Yeah, I don't think I have. I think the main thing I had when I was a kid growing up was Tyco stuff. You know, and then when I got a little bit older, I had Radio Shack. You know, when I got in mainly in my teens and my early 20s, it was Radio Shack stuff. Like I said, until I got my ECX Torment, I'd never had a full hobby grade RC. And that was like 5.5 years ago. when I got my ECX Torment 2-wheel drive. I bought it used off of eBay. That was my first completely hobby grade RC. Before that, it was Tyco RC back when I was, probably 13, 15. And then when I got my early 20s, mid 20s, I had a couple of different Radio Shack, rigs. But most of the ones I had ran double A's or C batteries in the car itself. And they didn't have your nickel metal or NiCad style batteries. They definitely didn't have no LiPo type batteries, because I didn't have money for that. And then I finally saw some videos on short course trucks, and I was like, wow, I really like these things. And the way they just flipped and flipped and flipped, and people would get them back on their wheels and just keep going, and they seemed like almost indestructible. So I looked online, watched videos on the ECX Torment 2-wheel drive, found one used at a good price on eBay. And I think I waited till the last day to even put a bid on it. Won that. And then that's where I basically started my channel, was with that one vehicle. But don't get me wrong, I've since had some non-hobby grade RCs on my channel, and I've had hobby grade RCs. I've had a mix of them. If it's fun, I'll give it a try. RC wise, if the price is in my budget. Right now we've got 3 people kind of giving this a listen for the moment. And again, like I said, the holidays, I wasn't expecting this thing to blow up. But, because, a lot of people, day before Thanksgiving, out getting the last couple things they need for Thanksgiving. Maybe something was sold out a couple days ago. They're going to go see if they can find it today. Maybe they're out going ahead and starting Christmas shopping. That would be like me coming on here Friday and trying to do a Black Friday video. Basically, uploading an RC video or uploading something. I don't know if I would do that. I was looking at some solar panels for RC cars. Now that I've never looked at, to be honest. I've never actually looked at that. I have looked at solar panels for doing supposed to increase run times. Excuse me. I've never looked into that, to be honest. Solar panels for RC cars. I may have to type that in on YouTube just to see what it brings up, because I've never really looked into that. But yeah, like this little live stream I'm doing now, I wouldn't really come on here the day after Thanksgiving on a Black Friday and do a live. I was bored. Hey, we all get that way at times, brother. I wouldn't come on here and do a Friday edition of this RC talk, because most people would be out Black Friday shopping. A lot of those sales go. A good portion of Friday evening, Friday night, they're still having sales, or either online sales. People are busy with that. I wouldn't expect somebody to come on here and jump on an RC chat on a, Black Friday night. Unless you put in the title or put a picture of what you just got, and you got this big steal, and you said, big steal on Black Friday, and then you named it out. Other than that, I just see people doing holiday stuff more right now. Of course, I could be wrong on that one too. But yeah, man, you get bored, you look up all kind of weird stuff. A lot of times. I looked up, like, putting solar panels, one that you can hook to your bumper of your car, take it off, and use it for helping charge different things. I've looked at the solar panels people use when they go camping, to help charge up the gear that they take with them. So that way they don't have to worry about exactly having electricity. They can just go to a national forest, set up a couple of solar panels facing the sun, have it come down to the inverter and to the battery, whatever, and then have a couple of items plugged up to it that they want. And they can sit out there and they can camp, and they ain't got to worry about being at a campsite that has, an electrical outlet hookup or necessarily has running water or whatever. They can just be in a national forest somewhere, like say camping right near a river or something. And they use these solar panels to give their stuff that they brought with them, like say maybe their cell phone or maybe a lantern or other things, some solar power while they're there. You're going fishing on Black Friday. Hey, a lot of people don't do anything on Black Friday. A lot of people just carry on with everything as normal. Well, I think I'll go Black Friday fishing, or I think I'll go out and do an RC run on a Black Friday. If you don't do any online shopping on Black Fridays, or you don't go to these stores and try to rack up on Black Fridays, then yeah, it's just basically life as usual. Because it's not, it's not Thanksgiving Day, it's not Christmas Day. It's a awesome sale that you can catch. But me, I just don't see going into Walmart on Black Friday. I've heard too many horror stories about Walmart on Black Friday and a couple other stores. To me, if I'm going to Black Friday shop, I'm going to try to do it online. That way, maybe I still get a good deal. Like say, if you buy this product, it's normally $200, and they've got it marked down to $70 just because it's Black Friday and it's an online deal. Hey, I just saved a bunch of money. Didn't have to leave the house. Didn't have to wait on somebody to shove me down. Worry about somebody, pushing me out of the way because they want this last one. I'd rather do it online if I'm going to Black Friday shop. And some years I don't fool with it at all because I don't have the money. And I'll be like, all right, no Black Friday shopping this year. The funds ain't there for it. And you don't want to catch a good deal and go, really? I can't afford this. You go, man, that was like half price of what it was last year. Or that was like, a third of what it was. But, yeah, I don't know. My Black Friday night will be work. That's what I'll be doing Black Friday night. I'll be at work. What will I be doing, the Saturday following that? At work. That's just the way it goes. That's why I said my Black Friday things I normally do, since I work on Fridays. I work every Black Friday. Since I work, normally what I do is do a little bit of shopping online if I can afford to and catch a Black Friday deal. I've caught some in the past. I caught one time where I got I want to say 1/18th. It was 1/16th or 1/18th, but I want to say 1/18th. It was one of those little rally cars. It was made by a company called Maverick. It's a little Maverick rally car, 1/16th, 1/18th scale. Not positive on that, but I know it was one of those two scale models. And this thing normally ran like 140 or 160 at the time when I saw it. And when I went over to this other site on a Black Friday deal, I caught it for like $59 or $69. I clicked on it and ordered it immediately because I was like, that's a score, man. For half price or a little less than half price, I thought it was a score. So I grabbed one up, ordered it. I've already done, I've done an unboxing video of it. I've done a couple running videos with it. I still have it. I haven't broke anything on it. So for getting it for less than half price, and I've been able to run it a couple times and not break anything on it, it was a pretty good little deal. Now, to me, I do either need to upgrade the shocks or the tires first and then see whether I need to upgrade the other. I think if I upgrade the tires, put a little softer tire on there, I might be able to get by with the shocks that are on it. Otherwise, I need to do tires and shocks. But that's the main two things I see it could need. But it runs good. But I need to get off my butt one day and get out there and just do a little bit of work on my kayak. Even though it's, I'm not using it that much for fishing now because, we're going into winter soon. I need to try to, work on it here and there some. Add some of the stuff I bought for it, like my anchor cleat. Then I have to go ahead and put my new anchor on there. Go ahead and put me a rod holder on there. I'm going to put the anchor cleat. My idea is to put it over here on the right. And then back behind me, there's a spot where you can hook on a carabiner. Well, I'm going to hook the anchor rope there. Then I'm going to toss the anchor off the right side. And then I'm going to wrap, right as I toss it out, I start slowly letting it down and I feel like it's hitting bottom. Then I'm going to take the rope and go around the anchor cleat. So that way, there's not a whole bunch of rope in the water, with the anchor. And then on my left side, since I'm a lefty, I'm going to probably mount that rod holder, down in there and then kind of have it off at a angle like that from the boat. Maybe not straight out like this, but I may do it, about a 45 degree going off the side of the boat. So that way the rod's out like that at an angle. I can just pull it up out of there, try to set the hook or whatever. I can pull it up out of there and use it, reel it in to change the bait, and then throw out and then set it back down in there, tighten my line up, just keep an eye on what I'm doing. And I may order me 2 flush mount rod holders to go right behind the seat on each side just to hold 2 rods there. I may do that down the road. That's a decision I haven't made yet. I would do that if I planned on taking the crate out of the back of it. I would probably do that because my crate that I have back there right now, I have a milk crate and it has 2 rod holders zip tied to it. That holds 2 rods back there just for when I'm paddling. Now, once I get out there and fish, this rod holder here is going to hold the rod, that I've got, cork on, fishing on bottom on or whatever, right here. And then I'll just maybe reel it up out of the water if I don't want to fish with it no more. And then I'll grab one from behind me, pull it up, put the bass plug on it or crappie jig or whatever, and use that one to cast with. But the reason I said I may put flush mount rod holders behind the seat and get rid of the crate is that way I can flip the kayak over on top of my wagon, strap it down, and just haul it in that if I didn't want to load it up into the pickup truck and unload it and load it and unload it. I have an automatic rod holder for a kayak if you want it. Thanks, man. I would love it. An automatic rod holder for a kayak if you want it. Yeah, I would love something like that. I'll have to get with you on that. I don't want to, give any information out, right here on camera, about, addresses, exact addresses, But you said you got one, an automatic rod holder for a kayak if you want it. It sets the hook when you get a bite. Oh, wow. That would be, that would be awesome if you've got one out there, you got bait on it, and you just start bass fishing a little bit and you're throwing a plug and retrieving it, and you start getting bites and you kind of turning this way, paying attention to the way you're fishing the rod over here, you're doing the bass plug, and then you get a hit over here, that can really help out. It sets the hook when you get a bite. That really sounds cool, brother. I don't think I've ever had anything like that. I mean, I've had rod holders that you stick in the ground. I've had rod holders that you mount. They have like a C-clamp on them, and you mount them up on a pier when you're fishing. You know. But I ain't never seen anything where the rod holder is automatic and it sets the hook when you get a bite. I haven't seen anything like that. But of course, I haven't really looked for it, to be honest. I mean, but yeah, brother, I'd love to have something like that. That'd be cool to see how good it works, or you know. Excuse me. Now, I'm not going to give any exclusive information. That spot that you were at the other day when you did the fishing with the safety pins, that's the spot right near the house. Correct? I figure you actually go down beside that little bridge area that goes across there and then go over there. Because the dam up here, the backing, and all those big rocks reminded me of that. Oh wow, yeah. I bought 4 of them at a yard sale for $8. Don't you love yard sale deals? I mean, I used to love going to yard sales and people be like, oh, I'll take so and so for it, and it looks like it just came out of the packaging, you know, or it's still in the packaging, looks like they never used it. And you're like, wow, man. And you priced it at Walmart. It was like double, triple the price. I used to love going to the Jockey Lot years ago and just getting some steals, you know. Yes, you know where it is. Okay, I thought it looked familiar. You know, like I said, I'm not going to name anything. But I thought it looked very familiar. That was cool, man. You know, I kick myself now, and I'm fussing at myself now for never going there and actually fishing one when I lived by there. You know, I never went fishing at that spot. Never even gave it a try. You know, I knew it was there, but I never went there. You know. Now I wish. When I saw you catching all them little fish right there, I was like, he caught all them fish right there, you know, on a safety pin. And, you know, a piece of worm. I was like, man, I should have went fishing there at least once or twice. So, yeah, I definitely regret not giving that place a try. My bad on that one. Now, here where I live at, the closest spot I can go, I haven't caught anything there. I've gotten a few bites, one part of that spot, move over, 200 or 300 yards, and not get any bites. No matter if you go there once or 3 times, didn't get anything. But then down a little piece further from me, another part of the same lake is the one where I went to in my videos that I posted and actually caught fish. You know. So I haven't found that proverbial hot spot where every time you drop it in the water, seems like within 5 minutes you're getting another fish. I haven't found that proverbial hot spot yet. That's why I may look at some of the other lakes around my area, or I may look into some ponds or rivers or creek. We got a spot going out of town where there's like a little bridge thing going over, and people pull the car off to the side. They walk down the embankment, and then they fish down there. Whereas the other guys stand up on the side of the road right there up against the rail, and they just toss over and try to fish. But I haven't given it a try yet. I want to one day, if I have time, stop and just ask them guys what all do they fish with over there and what all do they catch out of that spot. Excuse me. And I may have to, just give it a try. Now it's not a big enough spot to take my kayak to, so that would just be, walking over there, standing there and fishing. If I'm going to fish out of the kayak, I need a little bit bigger of a spot, kind of like, a pond or the actual lake. But yeah, I'm trying to look around and find different places to go do things. So that way it ain't always, okay, he went to the lake, he went to that same spot again, and I got 5 videos in a row of me fishing in the same exact spot. I've got, like I said, 3 different places I've fished, on that lake. And right now I've tried to split it up. Well, this time I'm fishing off the pier over here. This time I'm over in my kayak on this part of the lake. That way people don't get bored with the same old scenery or whatever spot. And the same thing with my RCs. I've been trying to find some RC trail places. Places I could go trail my RC or crawl my RC, more than what I've found so far. And I went on line and found a couple of RC racetracks near where I live, within 45 minutes or less. And I'm trying to join their Facebook groups, so that way I can either chat with people that are on there from time to time, or go to that racetrack, stand there and watch a race, and during the intermission when they're not racing or whatever, maybe talk to a couple of the RCers out there and see if they know some better spots that I can go to trail/crawl or whatever with my RCs. Because right now, most of what I've been to is more flat with just sticks and roots. Broke off branches, stuff like that laying on the ground, pine cones, stuff like that. There's been very few rocks where I trail at right now, if any, and not a whole lot of, up or down or anything like that. More for just straight trailing. There's not been that many places where you got to, say, crawl up this big hill to get to the next area you're going to trail on or anything like that. And that's what I want to find. So I'm trying to, hook up with a couple of these raceways that are nearby. Both of them, I think, are less than an hour. I think one's around 30 minutes away and one's closer to 45, or a little less. And I want to see if I can get hooked up with the 2 of those. Hard to find new places to fish when I know if I go to my honey hole, I'll catch fish. True. If you've got that one awesome spot that every time you drop that line in the water, you're catching something while you're there, it's kind of hard to even go looking for anything else. But me, like I said, where I'm at now so far, I've had those days where I go out there and y'all only see me catching these little, not even keepers. And you see me catching maybe a couple of them that are almost, where you want to keep. Brim and different things. I want to find a spot where I can go actually keep the ones big enough, catch ones big enough to keep. Maybe catch some big enough to fillet, stuff like that. Maybe catch a couple bass here and there. I want to find some spots like that. It may just be right there where I'm at, but a little further than where I've gone in my kayak so far. Like when I took my kayak out the first time, I went from right here where I was parked, went around this side here, went out and went around this cove and fished back in there a little bit. And then as I come back around, I caught a few small ones. I think it was like 3 or 4, somewhere along there. More on the brim or sunfish style thing. And then I've come out and I've went this way, fished along this bank until I got out a decent ways and fished up in this little cubby. But I didn't go all the way back up into the dead end cove part. I got in there a little ways and then I just stopped and stayed out there and did some fishing and then came back. But now, say next time, I might want to push all the way up into that cove and try that, and then maybe come out and go a little further. I can't shoot all my videos in the same place, even if I always catch fish. Yeah, man. That's what I'm kind of talking about with trying to find maybe a couple different spots to fish at. That way I can throw more variety, because right now it's all on the same lake, but it's different parts of the lake. I've got the one that I go and I fish off the pier. Then I've got a spot down near where I live where I go and either fish off their pier or I just go and find a spot on the bank a couple hundred yards away that I fish off the bank. And then I've got the spot where I put the kayak so far. I've done a couple of times over there. But I'm looking for at least 2 or 3 other good spots. So that way if I shoot videos of it, then I'll be like, okay, I at least get bites at these 3. Well, these would be more of my main 3 I would, go to. But I want to do the same thing in the RC. So that way, every week it ain't the same, the same RC in the same spot. Now, I know other than these live videos, all my last 4 or 5 videos are me crawling them rocks and type stuff over there in that one area. But at least it's not all the same vehicle. One was the Red Cat Everest 10, and then it was the Axial Race, and then I did my Polaris Razor clone from WL Toys. Well, then I went back after I had modded the Red Cat Everest tires, the Everest 10. I went back over there and did a video with the modded tires doing the rocks. Now, if I do another video over there, it'll either be another one of my RCs trying to do that heel and do that crawl, or it'll be either the Red Cat with a different motor, or say the Race with some upgrades on it or something, or something like that, and doing a video of it. And then I've got these videos, of course, that I'm doing, these live streams. And then say if I decide to go out and bash one of my short course trucks or, something like that. But I try to give variety on my channel. But I also like some repetition like this. It's going to try to be a weekly thing every week. But I'm trying to make it where anybody can come on here and pretty much talk about a little bit of everything. I mean, it does not say Budget Guy Fishing and RC on my channel, but I do talk fishing because that's one of my other hobbies that I love to do. I've still got my quad, and I do like to ride it. So I may do another video of it, either in before winter kicks in, or I may do one when spring comes. But I thought about it one time, getting rid of the quad and just trying to, sell it or trade it and get me a golf cart, and just load up the fishing gear in the golf cart and go down to the bank and either fish or go down there, park by the pier, grab my gear and get out there and fish near where I live. But I haven't decided what I'm going to do concerning the ATV yet. My four-wheeler, but excuse me. That I'll probably, try to make a decision on next year sometime. Unless something changes between now and the end of this year. But yeah, I definitely need to get the wheels turning on a couple of other spots I've actually seen people fishing at that I've never tried. Like I said, that bridge, they go down off the side of it and they fish there. They stand up on that bridge, they throw off there. I've seen a bunch of different people, like different days of the week they're fishing. And that's probably 30 minutes or less, I want to say. The complete drive to get there, it's probably 30 minutes, maybe a little less. But if they're mainly catching stuff on artificial, then I'd like to kind of get an idea, what they're mainly catching fish on. That way, I don't go there a bunch of times and waste a bunch of different bait. That's why I said I'd like to stop by there one day when a couple of guys are fishing and just say, what do y'all generally catch over here? And see if they'll give me, an idea of what they catch, or they maybe want to be secretive and go, oh, I don't normally get any bites over here because they're trying to keep it as their honey hole. Don't know. But, and then I found a place in another town. Now that's probably, I want to say 35, 45 minutes away, one way, at least. It's on one side, it looks like just a canal full of water. But then that canal over here runs under a bridge and goes out to this big area that looks like a lake. And over here, it goes under another road, and goes off into a creek, looks like. Well, right here, I've seen people put kayaks and inflatable boats in over here in between these two sections of road. In that canal-like area of it, I've seen people put kayaks and inflatables in and actually go out there around that area. And I've seen a couple people just get out there and play on the kayaks and paddle around. I've seen a couple of people actually get out there and fish. So I may go there one day to check that out. What's up, Shen RC? What's happening, my friend? Good to have you here tonight. I was hoping you'd at least make it on for a few minutes tonight to touch base on what we've talked about so far tonight. It's been starting out about the COPPA rule on YouTube and people worrying about, getting in trouble. And then we talked about different fishing spots, honey holes and stuff like that, and stuff that we put up on our channel and how we may have to, do things to try to keep it on YouTube without getting fined, or may not have to do things. Right now, it's been at least go in there and change the video settings to not for kids, not for children, whatever, and leave your videos up and see how it goes, or do a slight YouTube name change, to see if that'll keep them from sending kids your way and saying it's kid oriented, or targeted towards children. And then we're talking about different fishing spots, like I said, different honey holes. And we talked about a few RC things. Just ride with it, see what happens, let it play out. I got those kayak stabilizers, hooked them suckers up today. Awesome. Now, do those tell you how much air you should put in each bladder on each side? Because I know the one you showed me, I went on eBay and looked at them. And I know you showed me, and they're inflatable. Each side, the part on each side that helps level it off. I noticed they said they were inflatable, but you just pump them up until they're pretty firm, or does it tell you what you should pump them up to, or have you looked at that yet, or have you even opened the box yet? Well, it says you hooked them suckers up already. My bad. So that means you opened the box. Well, did you like what you get? What you got? I mean, you said they're awesome. I mean, you think they're going to be? You think they're going to be really awesome out there? How easy are they to take on and off? Great thing about them is you just unscrew the 4 wing nuts, just a little out of there, tighten, and you can pull them off and slip them back on easy. Yeah, definitely makes transporting a lot easier because you take it off, transport to where you're going, and you get ready to put it in the water, slide them on, throw down the 4 wing nuts like you're saying, and launch into the water. They slide in a track section very nice. Like I said, if I'm going to keep that stadium seat, which raises me up a little bit and makes it a little less stable with the stadium seat up there for comfort, then I definitely will look into these stabilizers down the road. So that way I can be out there fishing, throw off to the left or right, and instead of going, it'll just be a little bit of maybe about like that, you know. If you can cut it in half or less. But I've seen a bunch of guys, they go buy PVC pipe from like Lowe's, Home Depot, wherever, Ace. And then they go and they get the things you put on the outside of your pontoon, your bumper ones. They'll get those and they'll put something like that on the side. Or they'll buy the ones that you throw out around the boundary of your land where you don't want people coming on into your area, or where the water's real low and you don't want people to tear up a propeller. You throw out this rope with these hooked on and they float that give everybody an idea boats can't come up in there. Those type little buoy things, people will buy those and they inflate them to what they want them, and then they hook them to the PVC and then hook them onto their kayak. You just fill them up so they are not fully filled and hard. You want some play in them. So if they get hot, the air has room to expand. True. In other words, not full, but at least over halfway. You fill them up until they start popping out completely, opening completely. But you don't go till you can't mash them at all. This was like $84 and well worth it. I definitely may have to look into that later time, because that would make it, the stadium seat, it makes the kayak way more comfortable, for sure. There's no doubt in my mind about that. And I know it's not going anywhere. The way I got it strapped in right now, it's not going to go anywhere. So technically, if I have one of these stabilizer sets, mount that, undo those, put them on there when I get ready to put it in the water, inflate them, whatever, get out there on the water, and then you ain't got to worry about being able to tip easy, even if you are raised up your center of gravity. Yes, I have one coming in soon. I'm going to try and hook it up by myself, by my seat, or by myself. True. I just took mine, went outside, looked at the way the kayak was set up, and started trying different things to get it where it would at least be where if I hit it, it wouldn't just fall off the boat. Because, when you get out of the boat and you're getting back in and you go to sit down and you bump it, stadium seat like you have, I got. Cool. Yeah, and the way I've got it mounted, when I turn my butt to back up to it to sit down on it, it doesn't just tip over and fall out of the boat. That's why I've got it strapped up the way I went with it. I didn't film that, of course. I was just doing that, playing around, and had it up on my back porch. And I'm sitting there strapping it down, and I grabbed it a couple times and went, and it didn't tip over and didn't fall over on the boat. And I'm going, well, that should hold. And then when I tried to sit down in it the first time to fish out of it, it seemed pretty steady. And like I said, when I throw out, the boat does a little bit more than it did before I added that. But like you said, with those stabilizers, that'll take care of that. I will have a video showing the stabilizers, how I put them on, so you can see them. Cool. I'll definitely keep an eye out for that one. Because as you see, I watched your Red Cat video that you just did. And I also watched your kayak video already. Because I was interested in seeing your daylight. I had a guy I used to work with. He bought the daylight. And when he bought his, he paid, I think, $149 for his. I just don't want to fall in that scum pond. Yeah, it seems like an awesome place to catch some nice bass and everything. But nah, not a place you want to go for a swim. You know. Because when you did that underwater footage, I was expecting to see a head come floating by, the jaws to come swimming by, or a body laying down there, or some kind of old sunken boat. It just looks like something you would see in that kind of scene. But, yeah, I don't want to fall in the water when I'm fishing. And the reason I want to do the stabilizers, because I've heard from a few kayak people that fish, you may get tangled up in that mess and not be able to swim. True. I talked to a couple of people that do kayaking, fishing from the kayak. And the reason they wanted the stabilizers, so that way when you throw out and you lay into that lunker or that slab, or you lay into a big cat or something, and you're trying to set the hook and reel it, that way he doesn't tip you over while you're fighting him. Because, you got the rod bent over, you're doing this, and he pulls you over to the side a little bit of the kayak. I just didn't want to see it go. If it's a big enough fish, You imagine a 12-pound cat or something bigger yanking on it, he might could tip you over. But if you got those stabilizers, you should be good. It should just kind of rock like that with them. Yeah, for sure, much better with them. You see how I set the hook? I think my kayak. Yeah, and different kayaks are a little more stabler than others, so it's just better, in my opinion, if you can be safe instead of sorry, and you can afford to do it. Kayaks are more stable than you think. I know, but, when you fish where he fishes at, nobody wants to have that in the back of their mind. Nobody wants to think, if I fall in that, I may not come out alive. If they can just add on something to make it that much more safer, it's basically for peace of mind. Because, I've seen guys that stand up on a kayak and do this. And they've got to literally turn them like this and then give one more step to that side before they finally flip over. And it ain't like I'm planning on ever standing up in my kayak. So, yeah, a lot of them are pretty safe. But me, I'd rather just be, safe than sorry. I caught a 32-pound grass carp out of my kayak. Pulled you over 200 yards, huh? Yeah. And some of them are way stable, way more stable than others. I looked at one, the guy he dropped his rod and reel in the water and it was floating nearby. He leaned over to grab that. And he was like a 240-pound guy. And it went. And all he was doing was going out the rod and reel. He dropped over. And I've seen other people lean over like this and pull a fish up, 5-10-pound bass out of the water. And the kayak just. But because I added that stadium seat and the way I put it in there. Okay, here was my butt regular in the bottom of the kayak. When I added the stadium seat, my butt's automatically that much higher or more than what it was. So that adds a little more top center of gravity or a high center of gravity than it used to have. And that's the only reason I'm talking about the stabilizer. Now, if I hadn't added that, stadium seat, I don't think I would put a stabilizer set on mine because I felt comfortable. I mean, I was out there throwing like this, and I throw hard. And when I'm reeling in a fish, I get into it, and my kayak was just. But as soon as I added that stadium seat and it raised me up like 3 or 4 inches, it made it a little more. Tell you another place I go, a reservoir. It can be 50 feet deep, but because the water is clean and not dirty with all those weeds and crap, I would not mind falling in. But that pond, 6 foot, solid plant, soft mud bottom, and all those weeds, yeah. I understand. It's like if you can walk out there in the water and you're out, say, 12 feet deep water with your kayak, and you're looking down and you can see halfway down, you're not as worried about, hey, but if you look under the water and there's pond scum, weeds, mud, everything all through the thing, you don't necessarily want to fall in that. And yes, it may surprise you. Like, you might want to take them off one day. Just right there near the bank, take the stabilizers off and just sit there right there near the edge of the bank. Not in deep water, nothing you got to worry about. And just do this a little bit and see what it would do without the stabilizer. See how long it is before it feels like it's going to tip on you. But when you go out in the deep or you go out there in the middle of that pond, since you've already got the stabilizer, have them on just to give you that extra security blanket as it is. A lot of people I watch on YouTube about kayaks run the stabilizers. A lot of people wouldn't put them. Like I said, the Daylight kayak I have is very stable with that wide, flat, tight bottom. Yeah. If they would have had the Daylight in stock when I bought the one I've got, the 10-footer, I believe I would have went with the Daylight. Yeah. But at the time, they didn't have them in stock. And I went up there and bought it on my birthday. Well, the day before my birthday, pretty much. So it was bought for my birthday, and I wanted it then for my birthday. So I went with the one I did and got the 10-foot one. One, because it's neon green, and it'll stand out pretty much anywhere you take it. But it was what they had. They had it, and they had higher priced ones. So mine was like $199.99 or $198.99, something like that. It was around that price when I bought mine. Did I plug up the holes in my kayak? Yes. I plugged all 3. Because I haven't been out in the water when it's real choppy, and I haven't been out there when there's a lot of wakes thrown up by boats and had to worry about water coming into my kayak. Now, what a lot of people do, they just plug the one where their rump is because they don't want their butt getting wet. Say if you're out there in your jeans and you got your wallet in your back pocket or whatever, and you don't want your butt getting wet, and you're sitting down there in it, they just plug up the butt ones right there where your seat is. They just plug up those 2. Some people plug up right up front where the ones are for your leg and feet, the one where the butt is, and leave the back open. I think all that green crap will flow up into the kayak. It's that bad. Yeah, it could. A lot of times it depends on how much your weight pushes that kayak down in the water to whether any of that stuff can get up in there at all. Me, I didn't take that chance because I know I'm a chunky guy. I took, man, I'm not on violent waters. When I go out there, there's not a bunch of boats on the water when I'm out there, and I'm not worried about a bunch of water coming into my kayak. If I did, I would pop some of them out. That way, if water comes up in the kayak, it can immediately drain back out. Like, say, down here by the feet, I would say the calf area, the calf and shin area down between there and the ankles is where my front 2 are. I would pop them out and then pop the one back out there where the crate is. That way, water could splash in and still go right back out. But the butt ones, I don't think I'd ever take those out right there where you're sitting at. I think I will put them in the water, put them in, if water fills, and pull one out, make a rope. Yeah. And my advice is, yeah, if you add the ropes to them and make them more like the actual scuffer plugs that they sell online to go in kayaks, that way you just pull on that little rope, pull them right out. True. That's why you definitely want the one where the seat is. That's why you definitely want that one plugged. Because when water splashes, or you sink down a little low and the kayak goes down, and water comes up, it's every time you get a little bit of wave, you got that water splashing up on your butt. I mean, who wants to have a wet rear, and be out there for 2 or 3 hours fishing with a soaking wet butt? Unless you're out there in swimming trunks and you're going to do some swimming, I say plug up the two where the seat is, where your rear is, at least. And then if you want to, plug up the one where your legs and knees and everything's going to be. Plug up those two. And if you're not worrying about what's in the very back, you can just let the water drain on those two. The water dripping off the paddle is rough in cold weather. Yeah, runs down because you're sitting there doing this, and it runs down. A lot of times it runs down your arm, and if you got a long sleeve on, it's going to go right down your underarm. If you don't, it's just going to run down and get your shirt wet, and you're like, ooh. And in that pond, when I pull up my plastic anchor, there's a bunch of tiny leeches on it. So if you fall in, you're going to get leached. Oh, yeah. Now, I didn't do actual scupper plugs. Steve, if you check out the one on my video, you got the drip rings for your paddle. Yeah, some of those work like they're supposed to, and other ones are just for looks. The original paddle that come with it, it didn't have anything like that, so it just run down your arm. So I immediately went out and bought an upgraded paddle. I bought like a $40 or $50 paddle that was marked down to $20. And it came with some cheap black ones down at the end of the paddle, but they just seemed like it still would run over them when you're paddling, especially if you're doing any kind of quick motion. And it seemed like it would run down your arm. So I went behind those and added a little bit of foam, like your pipe foam or like your foam that people use in the swimming pools as the float foams. I had a couple of pieces of green that I had cut off, one on each end, to make the paddle float more if I dropped it overboard, plus to try to help block some of the water. But I've got practice golf balls. It's what I have plugging my holes up. True, you can do different things. Like I was saying, Shin, what I did was I went to Walmart and bought round rubber, basically practice golf balls. I bought a little bucket of them. You can look at my video. I even show you the bucket. I did get the golf balls. Yeah, I used the rubber practice golf balls. They had white, yellow, and like a neon green. And since my kayak was bright green, I used the green ones. I just took them with my hand, set them down on top, and then took my thumb and just pressed them about halfway down. I put 2 in the very front where they're at, 2 right there where the seat is, and then 2 in the back. Now, like you said, to make it more convenient, I should have put the rope. Wishing I was fishing 73. Shin RC's asking you, are you going to go for those pickerels? You going to be messing with them soon? But yeah, as soon as I put my golf balls down in mine, I watched a video where a guy was putting the rope through them and doing the rope way. Just so that way you get a little bit of water in your boat, you just reach down, grab that rope, pull one up out of there, drain the water out real quick, put them back. In hindsight, being 2020, I should have went that way right off the bat, but I didn't watch those videos about people adding the little ropes to them until after I'd done put them in. So I would have to go back and pop each one of them out and do the rope thing if I wanted to do them that way. I may do that, for next year. Or I may just grab 6 new golf balls, rubber golf ball ones, and do it to 6 of the new ones and just swap them out for next year. That way, it's ones that ain't even been touched yet. Yeah, it should be pretty easy. Like drill a small hole, nothing else through the rubber golf ball, and then run your rope through it and have your knot right here, bigger than the hole. That way you can just. And wishing I was fishing 73 answered you, Shin RC. Oh, I see you saw that. Yes, I'm going to throw a mini spinnerbait. Spinnerbait should be good. I just started nailing them. Future videos coming. Cool. Well, Shin, I see we didn't get what we were wanting from Arrma. You get another big Basher RC is what they released. Was a big Arrma Creighton, whatever you want to call it, 8S. Big what, 1/5 scale? Definitely not what I was wanting from them. Like me and you had talked, we wanted to see a trail truck / crawler come out of their stable. Yeah. I mean, it's the same thing you've already got. You just made it bigger and bigger battery capacity. I mean, if I've already got the 1/10 scale one and loving it, I'm not really going to go jump into the 1/5 scale one. That's just my opinion. But yeah, I was hoping they'd do something different. Well, we got the 1/10 scale. Now we got the 1/8 scale. Now we got a 1/5 scale. The chassis bends easy on it. Yeah, like I said, I was hoping they'd go trail. Excuse me. And they didn't do it. I'm a little upset with that one. I wanted to see them release a trail truck. Whether it was straight up trail or whether it was trail / crawl or even a straight crawler. They could do something like the ECX Temper style or the Losi Nightcrawler, or the Red Cat Everest 10 or the Red Cat RS 10. Something on the version, something like one of those. They could do something like that. Or a real monster truck with solid axles. Yeah, I would actually like to see them do something like Axial's monster truck that they had. Or the Red Cat Ground Pounder. Something on the order of that out of Arrma. I would like to see something like that from them. With full wheel steering and stuff like that. Big monster. Even if it's a 1/10 scale, I'm just saying a big monster 1/10 scale. Or either maybe even a 1/8 scale. But I really wanted to see a trail or a crawler from them. Maybe they'll change their mind and do something like that in the future. But now, you came in late to the stream. Earlier, I was telling them that I had learned of a couple of racetracks within 30 to 45 minutes of where I live. I'm in the process of trying to join their Facebook groups associated with those racetracks. And I want to, in the near future, try to take a run to those two racetracks and just talk to some of the guys either before the race or after the race and see if they do any trailing or crawling in their local area to see if I can find somewhere else to take my trucks to trail and crawl. And also to watch some RC racing. I love seeing a short course truck run around a short course track, jumping around, dirt, whoop-de-doos, and doing all the stuff they do. But I also love to watch them race around the oval, especially when people turn the slashes and different things into dirt track cars for oval, and then they get the sliders out there and the midgets. That's cool. They probably know of a good spot for crawling, most likely. That's what I'm hoping. Get out there, get introduced to a few of the guys that race, even if I'm there just to watch the racing, and maybe chat with them before the race or after the race and just see if they know of any local spots where I could take one of my trail trucks or crawlers and go, and have a little more fun. No, I don't. I actually don't race anywhere. I used to go practice at one track, was thinking about racing there. My dad passed away, and then I lost all interest in going there for like a year. And then we moved, and now I'm just now hearing of a couple of tracks, within an hour of where I live. And I'm thinking of going there, if nothing else, watch a few races and then talk to the guys that race at those tracks and see if there's any RC trailing or crawling anywhere in that area. They use cheap aluminum chassis and add a lot of those freaking braces. Yeah. Have you heard of so-called? Not directly. I may have heard it mentioned by one or two guys when I was on Facebook in one of the groups or something. About where is that located? That race place you're talking about. And you fed your pet wolf fish a big thawed out frozen mouse. He ripped it in half. Wow. But yeah, if I can go to a couple of local tracks, racetracks, watch some racing, have some fun there every now and then on a weekend day, here and there, I may pick that up here and there. But I mainly work on the weekend, so I would have to try to work it around my schedule and where I could do it like maybe once or twice a month on maybe say a Saturday evening or Saturday morning, Saturday afternoon, something like that. And then hopefully I can run into a couple guys while I'm there at the track or while I'm on one of these Facebook groups and find out some local spots that they trail or crawl. They could be like, oh, it's over on I-50 out by so-and-so. Just type in this, and when you pass this restaurant, it'll be over on your right, back in the woods. Find a couple places to go do something like that. But no, I've never heard of that racing that you're talking about, Carl Jones. If you wouldn't mind, give me an idea about where it's located or where I could go to look at to see where that's located, to see if it's anywhere near me. And again, I want to thank everybody who has been on here tonight, and everybody who's popped in just to give a listen for a few minutes, and everybody who's actually popped in and chatted over here in the text section. No, not really. Most of where I go is really, well, 2 of the 3 spots I fish at, it's just completely flat land. right there. Two of the three main spots. The next two spots I fish at are near my house. And you've seen a bunch of times where I'm going in the woods trailing, and a lot of those are right near where I live. Yeah, that's what I was talking about. I'm in hopes to find out where a couple of local rivers are near, maybe one town over, two towns over, less, say 45 minutes or less, or an hour or less, that I can hit maybe some river banks. And, it's done washed out part of the bank. It gives it a little more difficulty, But the places I've mostly fished at so far, there's not really there's only a couple spots that you can take a trail truck or a crawler. And I've done that with a couple times. Yeah, I'd love to go to a creek or a brook when the water's about, up to the top of the wheel arch, something like that, or, up to the very top of the tire, somewhere along there, and come splashing through that and come up the other side of that. But so far, I haven't really found anything of that nearby. The woods I've gone into and looked, there's been trees. You could see it behind the tree, but there was no way, because it's such thick brush. You would have to go out there and spend hours on end just trying to whack back the brush to get back in that area to hopefully get back there to that. And now there is a spot near where I live where I can actually run my truck, go down this embankment, go through a shallow creek, and come up another embankment. But then I gotta work on clearing out a little bit of brush just to get me up onto that embankment too, and see if there's enough opening to drive anywhere. Yeah, but any parks or anything? Yeah. The last state park I went to, it didn't have any rock where I was at. They had like 3 trails. The one I went down, no rocks. It was just a bunch of like fallen limbs, fallen branches, roots, pine cone sticks, different things like that for you to do your thing over. But no creek, no main ups and down type stuff, no side hilling or anything like that. But I only did one trail at this park. What I need to do is go back. They've got 2 or 3 more trails at this one park, and I need to try to check out each one. If nothing else, go down there and don't even take an RC car and just go investigate, see what I've got. And then go back maybe another time and trail, or just take a chance, charge up one of the trail trucks, take it with me, just in case while I'm down there, I find a spot that's pretty good for trailing. Grab the car out and grab the RC out and go. Yeah. Like around me, it's been more smooth with the occasional root, fallen branch, pine cones. Every now and then you get a little bit of a grade that you got to go up, but nothing like the videos I did before we moved here, where I had a lot of rocks. I had a lot of creek that you could go through. Because you can watch one of my videos, I'm going across these rocks through a creek, and as I go to get up over here, it just off in the creek, and it was like trying to grab my CC01, my Jeep one, and I had to actually come over there and pick it up and set it back up on the rocks because I couldn't get it out, so I had to go fishing for it. But I moved here, and so far I haven't run into any of that more technical, as I want to say. The only thing I found is more of just the regular running, light trailing in your woods, and that big rock pile just for taking your crawlers up there too and running them up on. I have other places I can try, but that mountain by me is so good. It has every type of terrain you could ever want. Yeah. I've seen some YouTubers that have just awesome area like that. And other YouTubers, they got to try to hunt something. like you and RC Nixter. Two great places. That mountain where you're at. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. I need to find me that one go-to spot where over here there's maybe some mud you can crawl through at different times when the weather's, a little rough. Over here there's a creek you might can go through, and over here there's some rocky area. Once you find a nice spot. Yeah. That's why I'm hoping if I can get hooked up with these two race groups and these two other towns. Like I said, one town's only 35 minutes away, and I think the other town's 45 or less. If I can find something in one of those two towns that's got a little bit of everything for a trail truck or a crawler, then I should be pretty good and set. You just go out there and go, well, okay, I'm going to go down to this end of it and do my video over here today. This time I'm going to go down on this other end and check out it. Or this time I'm going to work out of this middle area. You can switch it up. I went a few times at the reservoir that I fish. It's not like in the mountain, but it was fun because it's different. Yeah. Well, that's like I go over there in the woods across from where I live, and I can get a decent little, hey, I'm going to show you what it can do over the roots and stuff. Hey, I'm going to show you it climbing over a bunch of pine cones, a bunch of broken limbs and different things like that. And every now and then maybe a little slight grade going up or going down. Maybe going through over some twigs or running through a little briery area. But I can't find many rocky things or steep climbs or creek beds or anything so far. But I'm going to look into a creek that I found right by my house and see if I can get enough area of a clear area where I can get the car down in it, be able to bring the car up the other side of this creek bed. I think when it's almost dry, it runs about this deep. When it's full, it's probably about that deep. And maybe try running an RC there when it's halfway down or a little further down, run an RC down through that, see if I can come up the other side, and then hopefully if there's enough clearing for me to get up there to stand, and then maybe run the RC up on the other side a little bit. I'm going to look at a couple of different places. And the spot I was talking to earlier, wishing I was fishing 73, I told him about a spot where I saw some guys fishing off of a bridge, and a couple other guys walked down beside the bridge and fish off the bank. I may go there and just walk down beside the bridge and see if there's any places along the sides of that, whether it be river, creek, whatever, see if there's any places where I can run an RC. Search a place by you close and use Google Maps and zoom around it with that. Try to find some spot. Yeah, like I said, I got to try different things. I was on Facebook tonight talking with a guy in a town next to me, trying to find spots. And like I said, there's a couple of guys that fish off this bridge near where I live at. I think it's a part of coming off of a creek, or either it's part of a river, coming off of a river, and they fish down in there all the time. And I'm thinking about stopping down there and walking beside the bridge and going down to the water and just seeing if there's anywhere in that area I might could do, if there's a trail in there going back into the woods that maybe I could run an RC on. Yeah. That way I can mix it up. But the only rocks I found so far is them ones I showed up there where I put it up on the rocks with those other RCs. I haven't found rocks mixed in with trails. Haven't found that so far. But I'm going to keep looking. Just like I'm going to keep looking for other spots to RC. And that place I told you about earlier, Shin RC, where I went to that one trail, they've got 2 or 3 more trails down there at that state park. I need to get back there and investigate those other 3 trails, I think it is. And then I heard of another state park about 45 minutes away that I could go investigate. And then I heard of what they call a local park that's out on an area. I think it's out near the lake. And there might be a place back in there. Go out there and check it out. Bring a rod, when you see the water. Oh, true. If you're walking down beside a river looking for a place to trail your RC to see if you got enough room to trail it and film it, you're gonna be like, man, I wish I'd have brought my rod with me. So yeah, it's best if you just carry one or two with you and be like, huh, let's see if anything's doing anything down here. Whether it's live or artificial, take something. Take it and throw out a couple of crappie jigs, or you know, maybe grab one of those smaller gulp minnows and chunk it out there a couple times at least. See what might hit out there while you're there. You're already there. You're standing beside the water. Why not throw a couple throws? That way, if you rule it out as a place that you can RC, there's not enough room to go back there and trail on RC, but there's enough room to stand and fish. Hey, you've got another new fishing spot. You know. And you might get lucky. You might be a spot where you can fish and trail your RC. So, yeah, I definitely got to do more looking. But like I said, we haven't even been living here a year yet. So it's something I've got to look into. Yeah. You definitely want to go back to it. If you hook some nice ones, that's definitely a spot you want to revisit. Now, if you go there 2 or 3 times and you never catch nothing bigger than bait, well, then you go there to get some bait. Because, you know, you go catch a brim like this size or some little small shad or something or some little grubs or something. Get some of that stuff, bring it with you to another part of the lake or something, chunk it out there and get some bigger ones. Or go, like I used to do, go catch some about an 8-inch brim, cut him in half, hook that on, and throw it out about 50, 60 feet. Just chunk it with like an ounce weight. Just chunk that thing out there, let it sit on bottom, and see if the big old cat comes swimming along, you know, and nails it. I used to do that with some small fish that I just cut up and put it on my hook and fish for cats and stuff. But now, years ago, I fished in creeks a lot, and I caught brim, and I caught, you know, what the sunfish or whatever, you know, and then you would see little like tadpoles, and you would see like different type of other stuff that you could use to fish with, other bait down there. You'd find crickets hopping around, worms crawling around out of the edge of the grass and stuff. So a lot of times them creeks end up being pretty good, if nothing else, for some bait. So like I said, this new coming year, I really got to put forth an effort to check back to that park that I've been to, that one state park, check out the other 2 or 3 trails that are there, and see if I can find something better than the one I was on. Maybe I don't run into a gator in the coming year. Yeah, you kind of want. My dad used to fish with a rubber worm, and he had this hook that went through, and it came out of the worm, and then it curved back around, and the hook sat right there almost at the worm, and then it had a little guard right here that barely covered the hook. So that way, when you come across and just barely hit brush and stuff, that little guard would protect from getting hung up pretty good. But if a bass come along and hit, it wasn't nothing to pop that guard loose, so you could set the hook. And you use the bullet type weight, right? You'd have the hook and everything with the worm on it, and then you'd have the bullet weight just sliding up and down on it. My dad fished them a lot when he'd be in bad areas. Yeah. Texas rig worms. Yeah. Stuff like that. Anything that you can, you know, kind of limit the chance of the hook getting hung up are really good in ponds, creeks. Now, if you've got a 3-hook sitting here, 3-prong hook here, 3-prong hook here, oh my Lord, you throw that plug out in a place like where you're at, that's going to be horrible reeling it back in. Because you're going to bring it in, you got glump hanging from all the sets of hook over top of the lure. Whereas if you're throwing out the top water plug, especially the frog, the hooks come out the back end and they flip the hook over and it lays over the top of his butt and back. So that way when you're bringing it back, nothing's bothering it. I don't show in my videos, but every cast or other cast, I have to pull off all the hair, algae, and weeds. I had a place I used to fish at years ago. Me and a buddy would go down there. When you throw out, and unless you were using something top water like a frog, or unless you were using something that just stayed up top, they would just be covered. Anything that went under the water at all would just be covered in the algae and everything. You'd be pulling the green off left and right. You're like, well, I'll get to that lure in a minute. You know, even your Texas rigs, you might not be getting hung on bottom with it, but when you brought it up, that green would just be algae and stuff would just be gunked all around the weight. It'd just be hanging there like a Christmas tree. It'd be like a wig. It's like your lure was wearing a wig. So some places are really bad like that, but it makes for such good fishing as far as bites and stuff, because you can throw a large variety of items out there and them fish will just attack it. Oh yeah, I can't let the lures even sink now in the cold. I can't. It gets covered. Even in January it does it. Yeah. Now, anything, you really got to be careful. Anything you throw out that's got hooks hanging down. I mean, now if it's got the hook kind of, right here up against the body, like on some of your rubber worms, plastic worms, some of you like other lures that have like a shad body, any of your rubber type baits, those are generally the best ones to fish in areas where you're worried about hanging up, because it's a little bit easier to work. Especially if the hook comes out the top. You got the hook, you got the head, jig head here. The hook comes through, and then it turns up and it comes out the top. Well, you're running that in the water. It's not as easy to get hung up on stuff on the bottom, but you're still going to catch seaweed and stuff unless you keep it skimming the top of the water, That's why when I catch them, I'm always like, weed fish. I used to go to this one spot and people were real bad about throwing trash. You throw it and you go, oh, I think I got a potato chip bag. Oh, I think I caught a shoe this time. And it was like, I wonder if I got a fish this time or what I got. I don't know what this feels like. Wait a minute, I feel the rod doing this. It's actually a fish this time. I have mine all weedless fish hooks pointed back in the lures, not exposed. And every cast it gets crap on them. Yeah. And some lures are just like that. Hold on a second. I'm going to grab something real quick. Lay down. That's like this. Set of hooks hanging here. Set of hooks hanging back here with this propeller thing. You throw that in that pond where you're at. I mean, look at all that hanging down. Whereas, Monsieur Frog here, a lot less chance of getting that hung up. And how did the whopper plopper? How did that work out for you? I'm going to put these back up. Sorry. I had to put them couple of lures back up. Frog is good. Plopper, only could throw it in the little open spots. Nothing on it at all. Well, I'm going to try that frog for sure this year. You know, when I, like say in spring and in summer, I'm definitely going to throw it out there some, see if I can get some hits on it, especially up near some brush that might be sticking out in the water. And I'm paddling over that way, throw over there at the brush laying in the edge. Laying in the edge of the water. Brush piles in the water and stuff like that. Definitely going to throw around some of that stuff. Throw up near the bank where there's like limbs and stuff in the water or something. Or trees fell into the water. Throw around it with that. But luckily, the majority of those ones I've got over there, the ones I just brought over here, that one with the double hooks, they got double and triple hooks. You definitely don't want to use them in your spot. I make my own lures, soft plastics. My lizard pole works great. Now, speaking of lizards, me and my girlfriend, and used to be my best friend, we all went to a lake one day, and we were all throwing out different baits. We were bass fishing, trying to catch some bass. Right then, and we were thinking about doing some catfishing later after it started getting dark. And we were using lizards. And she brings out this purple, pink colored lizard with glitter like stuff on it. And lo and behold, she's the one getting all the bites. And me and him are using more of what would look like a real lizard, the colors. Not even a hit. Try a super fluke in the weeds. I may have to try that, like I said, this spring, this summer, whenever I go next. I haven't decided whether I'm going to, cancel fishing during the winter part or whether I'm going to go a bunch or whether I'm just going to go maybe once or twice. I haven't really decided which way I'm going to go with it. I try not to plan it too much in advance because down here, you can be one day clear and then you could have 2 straight weeks of rain. So I try not to plan too much ahead. Hi, I am the master with those type of lures. See my videos, I use a lot of them. Lake Fork makes real nice ones. Yum and Gambler baits. I love using them. I've caught 8 bass over 10 pounds on flukes. Nice. 8 bass over 10 pounds on flukes. Now, me, the best thing I caught bass on when growing up, teenager years, whatever, was Texas rig. I caught a few bass here and there that way. And I used to use back in the day the hula popper. They call it the hula popper. Yeah, I know. But unfortunately, by me, they don't get that big. But yeah, Texas rig was my teenage years and first, main thing I used in my first adult years when I fished. And I also used the hula popper. Normally just small bass. Hey, at least you're catching small bass. I mean, so far, every time I've been fishing here, the only thing I've caught is like brim or sunfish. I haven't caught any kind of bass so far. Could be the spot, could be what I'm using, could be the technique I'm using when I'm fishing it, could be the time of day. A bunch of variables on that. Biggest you got was 7 pounds. Cool. Now, a buddy of mine, he used to use rooster tails. That's all he would use. No matter what he was fishing for, he'd just get different size rooster tails. And you would not catch him using pretty much anything but a rooster tail. If he had 3 or 4 rooster tails in a little container with him and he lost all of them while fishing, and you say, man, I'll let you borrow a hook and some worms here. Come on over and fish for catfish or brim. He'd be like, no, I'm good. He was just a rooster tail guy. He'd fish rooster tails from like this big to the bigger rooster tails like this, and that's all he used. I like the pickles. They are nasty fish, fast, powerful, and aggressive. Cool. Well, I like striper when I used to go to the dams because striper's aggressive. They fight you good. Plus, you're fighting the current because generally the water comes down from the dam. You get it, you set the hook, and then you're bringing it back against the current. So you've got that aggressive striper on there fighting you. Plus, you've got that current fighting you. And it's just like, it'd be like you're bringing in a whale when you're bringing in a 3 or 4 pound, striper. I like channel cat. Yeah, I like cats. Used to be my main fishing. I go catfishing at night, like once a week or every other week. Sit out there from like 6 or 7 at night until like 8 o'clock in the morning. And while I was out there, I'd put the fishing stuff away for catfishing and throw out a couple bass plugs before I'd leave. Yeah, some of them cats put up a real good fight. And then some of them will fool you. Think you got a whale on that thing, and you reel it up, and it's a cat that just fought like crazy, fights you all the way till you get it in and get it off the hook or get it into the, the live well, wherever you're going to put it. Say it feels stronger than a largie to you when you're fighting those smallmouth bass. Yeah, some fish are just so aggressive. You get a hold of one that's really aggressive, and it's just like makes you think you're fighting something. Oh. And then you get a hold of another fish, and it's like, Do I have anything still on here? Do I have anything on here? And you reel it up, and it's a fish that just like tuckered out after the first couple reels and made you think it done got off. And then again, you bring in something that's like maybe this long or this long, and you feel like you just had your butt whooped. But yeah, it's nothing like a good fish fight. You know, you get out there and you just, oh my Lord, am I going to get him in? You know, I've had a couple of times where the bass, I'd be laying back, I'd be cranking it, getting him in, get him right there, right to this far before you could reach for him. And he'd just come up out of the water and spit the lure back at me. And you see a rubber worm or hula popper or something go flying over your head. You ever catch eels in the river? No. I've caught a bunch of small fish, tadpoles, different things like that, different kind of grubs and stuff near the river and near the creeks and stuff, and used them for, going fishing with. Check out your videos about the eels. I'll have to give that a look. But no, I ain't never caught any eels. But yeah, I need to, like I said, I need to look and try to find some new spots for both fishing and RC stuff. It would be nice to find the one spot that's got, hey, over here's a creek, over here's a river, and I can also come right here and do some RC and while I'm here. In the current, you try reeling them in, they bend halfway their body, so they are like L shape. That sounds like a fun fight. Now, I haven't caught any fish that I've kept and cooked in a while. Used to. If it was big enough to eat, big enough to keep, big enough to eat, that was my rule. If it was big enough to keep, I kept it, I brought it home, I cleaned it, I cooked it. And then I got where a lot of times I just go down there and catch and be like, well, if I start catching them left and right, I may keep a few of them and take home and, fix up for supper tonight. But otherwise, I'm just going to chunk them back. And they're slimy. It's like catching a snail, huh? Or some kind of slug. That's something I'll ask you two guys. Just for the point of asking, and I just spoke about it. Has anybody ever tried just taking some, like, slugs or something that you found out on your front porch, laying across your front porch? A lot of times you take the salt out there to get rid of it or whatever. Has anybody ever thought about taking those? Just not saying it's a good thing to do. Animal cruelty coming in here. Taking those, putting them on hooks, and fishing with them. I'm basically asking the two guys on here right now, have you ever fished with slugs or snails? If yeah, did you catch anything? If no, have you thought about it? Never used a slug before. Okay, well, Shin RC, have you ever thought about trying one just to see what it could do? Like put on some thin, like neoprene gloves, or maybe put on some, something else so you ain't having to touch it as much, or just make sure you have something where you can wash your hands in the water and have a little towel with you to dry your hands off because of the slime. But have you ever thought about trying a slug or, a snail? I use Sluggo lures and swimming slug. Ah. All right, wishing I was fishing 73. I'm posing the question over your way too. Have you ever tried using a slug or a snail to fish with? Have you ever done it? Or if you haven't done it, have you at least thought about it and said, huh, wonder if I could catch anything with this snail here? Or I wonder if I could catch anything with this slug right here? Just curious. I mean, I know there's artificial baits, and there's real baits. And I know people use crickets, minnows, worms, and then you have some that use shad, they use herring, they use small bluegill. Beef hearts work great on catfish. Didn't know that one. I used chicken livers. I also used weenies. Chop up the weenies into chunks. Put the weenies on the hook. Put them out there for catfish. I've actually caught catfish on canned corn. Even though I think canned corn is a little bit more popular for carp, I have caught catfish on canned corn. I've definitely caught them on chicken livers. And I've actually caught them on weenies. I did. I bought $1 pack of weenies one night. I had some old chicken livers that had done gone bad that were in my fridge. And oh man, it was a bad smell. And what I did was I stopped by a store on the way to go fishing and grabbed me $1 pack of weenies, cut them up with a knife I had with me, and I set the weenies down in the top of the chicken liver container, and let that blood get on them. Pulled them out and put a couple pieces on the hook. Try beef heart, and I also catch a bluegill, chop it up, and cats. Yeah, I've caught cats with bluegills. I've also caught cat on some shad, different size shad. I caught a big shad one night, biggest shad I'd ever caught. I cut that one in half and threw it out. And got me I think it was a 12 and a half pound channel cat. Yeah. They're kind of the pig of the fish. They're like the pig. Oink, oink. You throw out the slop out and back for the pig to eat. Well, it's a little bit of this, a little bit of that. The catfish goes, we're like Mikey. We'll eat anything. Like the commercial used to say, Mikey, he'll eat anything. Well, catfish are a little more like that, I think. Whereas some of the other ones seem like they're a little more finicky, depending on the water temperature, the days, nights, But I can honestly say I haven't caught a bass since I've been here, and the times I've been out, it's just been, basically brim for the most part. And I haven't done any catfishing at all since I've been here. I need to get back on that. Just one night, one evening when I'm off, go throw out for some cats for a little while. At least go out there and throw out for an hour or two and see if I can get some bites. And then if I get some bites, I can be like, okay, I know I'm getting bites. I can go back there again, maybe try something a little bit different the next time for them, or just try throwing out a little further or a little closer. But I do need to get back into that. I haven't fished for cat at all since I've been here. I've thrown out some bass plugs, a couple crappie jigs, mainly fish for brim. But I do need to try some other things. But yeah, you can chop up a bunch of different kinds of fish that you catch. I used to catch them little warmouths. We used to catch those at the creek. Go down to a creek and catch a little warmouth and we'd take those. Look like a miniature little smallmouth bass. We go catch those and laugh about how they were. Oh, look at this. It looks like a baby bass. We grab one up, throw it over here, and we throw it over in the minnow bucket with the minnows or whatever we were fishing with that day when we caught it. And then we'd go later that evening and go down to the lake, put him on the hook, and chunk him out for catfish. You know. Did I put a paddle holder on it? Well, mine's got okay, over here on this side, on the left side and on the right side, I think it is. I know it's on the left. You got a place where, like a little eyelet is screwed over here. It's a little latch thing. And then over here, you got another place where an eyelet is screwed, and it's got like a piece of paracord or something going through it, but stretchy like a bungee cord. And it stretches over your paddle, and then it hooks on that little eyelet hook over on the other side. And that's supposed to help keep your paddle in place. But I went a step further. Right here in the front of my kayak, there's an anchor hook like point. It's a round one, an O style thing. And I hooked a carabiner on that. And then I hooked, it looks kind of like a phone cord. And it comes down and it goes around my paddle. And I can toss my paddle out in the water, and it's just like bungeed to the boat. So I know it's not going anywhere. And then I've got a couple pieces of pool noodle, as they call it, the neon green, one on each end of the paddle. So that way, if it comes off the boat, it's not going far because it's hooked onto the kayak. Plus, I got the pool noodle to help it stay up top a little better so I can reach it quicker. I did stuff like that just to make it, simplify it. Go look at my video and it shows you the piece that I put on the boat, that I was going to put on the boat. I'll say, hey, I got this to put on my kayak to hold my paddle. And I think it came with 2 in the pack for just a couple dollars. The one that's actually holding the paddle there. But the other part, the little black rubber like bungee strap that comes over and locks into place when I'm not using the paddle, that came on the boat when I bought the boat. But I don't really use that part that straps over and holds it while I'm fishing. I don't use that. I've got that piece hooked around the paddle to hold it. So if I drop it, and then I just lay it across right down below my knees, I let it lay on my legs, and then I just throw out and fish over here when I'm fishing for bass, or throw out here and fish for brim. Now, if I'm going to be fishing with that cork pretty much the whole session, well, then I'll hook the paddle on. Cool, I have a paddle leash on mine, same as what you said probably. Wondering how it would feel rowing with that bungee type thing attached to the paddle. Not sure, but the one I've got on there, the way it's done, it's not as much like a bungee. It's more like one of those spiral things, like a keychain thing that can drop down and kind of bounce up and down on you. It's got a carabiner, and then it's got a circle on the other end that can. And what I did is I just come around that, hooked on with a hook on this. It's got a clasp on this end, and then it comes over and got another place like a carabiner to hook over on this end, and then it just. But it's got a little bit more give than a bungee. And I'm paddling. That thing's clipped on the whole time I'm paddling. Mine, I don't never take mine loose. My boat is up on my back porch right now, and that thing's on the paddle right now. So I don't even take it loose when I'm storing it. I've got a covered back porch with a roof over top of most of it. So I just got my kayak slid up on the back porch with the roof covering it so the sun doesn't get to it as much. And then I've got a rope tying it to the edge of the porch so it doesn't blow away if we get heavy gusts of winds. I guess I will find out in like half a year when it gets warm out again. True. But if what you got don't work, look at what I got. I didn't pay but a couple dollars for it at Walmart. The thing I put around mine. I think I may have $2 in it at Walmart. And I want to say that 2 came in the pack. And this was actually something that was over in like school supplies. If I'm not mistaken, the one I ended up getting. Okay, there was another version of it over in the fishing supplies, but I think they wanted more. For the one over in the fishing supplies, they wanted a dollar or two more. And I could save $1 or 2 over in the school supplies for the style they had, the color they had. And I was just like, well, screw it, you know. As long as it does the job, I don't care. And I bought that. But if what you're using doesn't work like you want it to, you could always go back and look at my video and get something on the order of that style and put that on there. Because if it falls off in the water, I don't see there's no way it going away from me that I can't get it with it, you know, with what's on it and with the pool noodles, the little section. I didn't put I cut about a section about that much pool noodle on each end of the paddle. Right behind those cut things that are supposed to keep the water from running down the shaft, right behind those, I put 2 sections of pool noodle, 1 section on each end. That way, if it falls out of the boat, it's floating good. I just reach over and grab it, or just grab a hold of that and pull it back to me. I see guys out on ponds fishing in kayaks in the dead of winter with snow on the ground. What if you fall in? I guess you're going to become a member of the Polar Bear Club. I don't know. I never could get into that. People be like, oh, I'm going to do a Polar Bear Club thing. I'm going to the local lake when it's frozen and try to jump in and cut a hole and jump in. No. Now, when I fished, I did fish in cold weather years ago. Or did, yeah. Now, to be honest, years ago, when I was half my age, nothing bothered me. I'd go out there. It'd be 40 degrees outside. Down to like 32 outside. You could walk on the grass and you could hear it, the frozen grass crackling under your feet. And I'd walk down there and chunk out for striper. I'd walk down there. I'd catfish for 2 or 3 hours. As I got older, I was like, no. It's 25 degrees outside. I ain't going nowhere. It's 35 degrees outside. I'm going to sit in the house in the heat and stay warm. I'll go during spring, summer, and fall and leave the winter alone. That's the way I started being. But now if I want to go bad enough, I might go out there for like an hour just to see if I can get a hit and be like, okay, I've had enough of the cold. Time to get back in the house. Especially, you know, if I'm right near the spot. If I'm already near it and I got my gear with me, pull over, throw out 30 minutes to an hour and be like, okay, that's enough. It's cold. I'm done. Hop back in the car and go home. But I doubt if you're going to see me out there in below freezing weather. I doubt that very seriously. Oh, I still go in the winter when it's snow on the ground and the pond's half ice. I am crazy. I went a few days ago, was 40 and windy. Yeah, I understand what you're saying. I've gone days where it'd be like, you get out there and you're like, okay, I can handle the cold. You got your jacket on, throwing out your fish, and you start warming up a little bit. And then you get one of those big old 15, 20 mile an hour gusts of winds, and it takes the temperature down in half right at that instant. And you go, oh, why am I out here? Heater socks? True. A lot of people will buy those, especially your hunters. They want to go out and do some deer hunting in the winter. They get those heater socks. Now, I don't know if I want to put my kayak on the lake in wintertime and fish out of a kayak. Yeah. If you're not catching fish and you're just sitting there, say you got live bait and you're throwing out there and you got it on a cork or on bottom and you're just sitting there like this, waiting on fish to bite and you're not getting any bites yet. Oh, you're going to be cold in 5-10 minutes because you're not moving. Now, if you're out there fishing for bass and you're steadily throwing plugs or jigs or whatever out, a little bit warmer. And then if you're getting hits and you're catching, you get even warmer. You turn into a snowman when you don't get fish. Yep. I used to take a thermos with me full of coffee. I used to put on like 2 pairs of socks. And then I'd put on like a long sleeve shirt and then put on a coat over me. That way, if I started catching a bunch and I got a little warm, I could remove the thicker coat and just go with the thinner coat. But I just don't know about putting a kayak in the lake in wintertime. Now, Wishing I Was Fishing 73 said he was going to take his and put it in the water, even though, winter's coming. But, man, imagine if you fall over out of that kayak into that lake and it's like 32 degrees outside. Oof. Popsicle Bob, real quick. But yeah, that's just like if you go out RCing and you're out there walking through the woods, and the wind's blowing at like 20 miles an hour, and it's like, say, 38 degrees outside or 35. If you're standing there talking to people or you're looking over where you want to take the truck at until you actually start walking and moving, you're Frosty the Snowman. But once you start running that truck and following it, walking around the pathways and doing things, then it might be bearable. The pickerels I once measured when they were 40 degrees and they still jump and wiggle around like crazy, even if it's cold and snowing out. I don't know how they do it. I once measured their temperature. Yeah. You think they would be more lethargic. But it's like some fish seem to thrive better the colder the water is. I always caught striper way better during the cold season, during the colder weather. Fall, winter. And during the spring and summer, it was always striper. The striper slowed down during the spring and summer to me. Striper slowed down, and your brim, crappie, whatever, and your bass and your cat got better during the, spring and summer. It was just like striper was my main fall and winter. But, to each their own, and whatever works in the area you're fishing. Their bodies were 40 degrees. Ugh. Make me cold just sitting here. And I've been sitting here drinking a cup of cold coffee or iced coffee or whatever you want to call it while doing this video. I'm definitely going to switch over and do some hot coffee later. Only thing nice about fishing in the cold, you have no one else on the pond and it's all yours. Well, that's like if you go to the lake. Most lakes, most creeks, when it's 35, 40 degrees out there, there might be 3 other people, out there at once like you are, willing to brave that weather. But the vast majority, no, they're staying home. Whereas if you go summer, if you go July and August, it's hard to find a spot to stand on the bank and fish because there's so many people. And it's actually kind of hard to find a spot to launch a boat if you're launching it from just the bank because there's so many people there. You got to, hey, can y'all move for one moment? I'm just going to unload my kayak and put it in the water, and then y'all can get right back there, in July and August because it's so busy. But if you go when it ain't, during the seasons it ain't as busy, yeah, you got the whole lake to yourself or whole pond. Yeah. I used to love it when I go down to the spillway to the dam and there'd be like 3 other guys out there. That'd be it. When I was younger, me and my cousin were fishing. I was so cold, ice was on our line. And the spinning reels full of string. Wow. Boom. Yeah. No way I could do that again. I went one time and this is a little gross. I went one time, and we were out there, and my fingers were like blood red. It was so cold. And we're out there, we're fishing, and every time you'd reel in, and we were using open face, so the water would get on your hands more, fishing with the open face, your hands would get a little more wet. And nose started running. It was that cold. I mean, nose just beat red, cheeks red, ears total redness, hands red. And nose would start trying to run. And it literally seemed like it was freezing as it was trying to run. And I was like, hey, it's enough of this. I'm going to head to the house and start some coffee or start some hot chocolate and thaw out. You know. But I used to go in pouring down rain for years. I'd get out there pouring down rain. Rain never hurt nobody. And then as I got older, it was like, well, I'm going to at least wear a poncho and keep, 50% of it off of me and still go fishing. And then as I got older, it was like, I might go today. It's raining. I might not. Yeah, I know some places think our cold is nothing, and other places are like, oh my God, how do you live there? You know. Yeah, we might get down in the teens. I think I've seen down here in the States where I've lived, I think I've seen 13 degrees Fahrenheit. You know, a few times, where you could hear the ground cracking every time you walked. Excuse me. But there are places where it's like minus 10, minus 20, minus 30. And I'm like, holy cow. But a lot of them, you got to look at the difference between the Celsius and the Fahrenheit so you can get an idea of actually how cold it was there. But my niece, she lives in a state that, she laughs when we talk about what the temperature is here. Because if it's 13 here, it's probably about 3 degrees where she's living at the same time. Did you say you had gators? I drove, that one state park I went to was about, I want to say 27 to 37 minutes away. And I actually ran within 50 feet of a gator while I was out using an RC. It was my that HG P401 that I put that yellow Hummer body on. It was my 4-wheel drive one. I put that Hummer body on. And I was out there. I was having fun on the trail. And I come over this. I think it was like a log. I come over it. And when I come over it, I was like this, looking at the RC, making sure I could get up and over it, filming it. And when I spun around, and there he was about 50 feet away. Yeah, like I said, we generally in the colder winter, we might get down to, most time, we get down below freezing. It gets down below 32 degrees. It gets down in the 20s a good bit. We've already had 25 here once or twice already so far. But it'll get down to like 13 or 15 at the coldest point of the year. But I don't never think I've seen it, get down like some places do. Minus, this or minus that, I think we've gotten down to 13 degrees Fahrenheit, which is still below freezing, but it's not that where it goes all the way down to zero and then goes down below it. I've seen some people get, minus 30 degrees. And they're like, oh my God. True. That's like in Hawaii going, man, so it's a little cool today. And it's like springtime. The lowest it goes down to is like, 60 to 70 degrees. And you're like, really? You have spring and summer all year long. You never get winter. And that's like Florida getting 60 degrees and going, man, it's cold here. I'll be glad when summer comes. And you go, really? 60 is the coldest you ever see? That's like the start of fall here. You know, you get down to maybe 60 is your low, and then you get back up to 75 or 80 during the daytime. Or you start out at 60 and you get down to about 45 at night. That's more of a fall weather. Yeah, because they're so used to hot. You bring them here in the yeah. Well, that's just like anybody down south. You know, from South Carolina all the way down to Florida, you take them somewhere like Canada, or you take them to like, you know, Antarctica, and they'd be like, I don't think so. You better give me heated gloves. You better give me heated socks. I want heated seats in my car. The whole shebang. Or no go. And that's why the fish are bigger and much more abundant. True. If you got a state where their colds are so cold you don't even want to go somewhere and do any fishing, yeah, your fish can grow bigger. That's just like if you're in a state where it gets like up to 110 degrees, 115 degrees during all your summer months and you don't want to go out the house, it gives them more chance to grow and get bigger. You know, if they survive the elements, they get big, and then you catch some monsters because there aren't as many people going out and catching them. Well, there's only two of us in here right now besides me. I'm gonna get ready and say goodnight, guys. I have enjoyed this abundantly, as I have all 3 of these I've done now. I really do enjoy doing them. It's nice to just talk to other people and hear what's going on where they're at. You know, whether it be fishing, whether it be RC, you know, whether it be antique cars, whether it be gaming, no matter what it be. You know, but I'm going to get ready and go ahead and call it a night because I never ate supper. So I'm going to get ready and get off here and fix me something for supper. And then I'm going to probably start me some hot coffee, you know, type stuff. I want to say thanks and peace to everybody that showed up tonight, everybody that spoke, and everybody that just come on and listened. I want to say happy holidays, happy Thanksgiving, you know, because I probably won't talk to the majority of people on here, you know, within the next couple of days. Unless I comment on a video that gets posted up, you know, right before Thanksgiving or on Thanksgiving by somebody. I say, hey, man, have a happy Thanksgiving. Other than that, I want to go ahead and say it here so that way everybody knows. Happy Thanksgiving from Marshall, Budget Guy RC. I hope everybody has a great one. Yeah, I noticed I catch a bass like 18 inches, for example, and it's like 2.5 pounds. I see other catch one smaller size, but because it's hot by them, they're like 4 pounds. Yeah. But again, Budget Guy RC, Marshall here. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody. Anybody that tunes into this. Peace. Have fun RCing. Have fun with all your hobbies. We'll catch you on the next episode, which, no bad luck, should be next Tuesday. Okay, Shen RC. See you later, my friend. And if you're still here, wishing I was fishing, 73. Hope to see you next Tuesday. Later. Budget Guy out. Peace.